Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
Experience.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Like a dying animal. Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
How's it going, everyone?
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons, and then we're each going to discuss each episode in order, the talking points, the guests, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kamar, how was your week?
How can I not have a good week when I'm a co-host of the unofficial Joe Rogan Experience? I don't know what we call this, but a lot of the feedback we've been getting from people is how they now watch the show to decide whether they should listen to Joe's companion piece, I guess we could say.
I like how we say a lot when it's usually one.
Oh, that's a lot.
Okay, fair enough.
Compared to zero,
Yeah,
it's many.
listen, compared to zero, I agree.
I think I've seen at least 3 comments that said that they find it convenient to listen to us than to decide what episodes they should.
Well, I mean, that's what we said from the beginning.
And so I had a great week, just basking in the glory of giving people what they need.
I love it. Simon, how was your week?
My week was not very great. I cut my finger making a path. That sucked.
On the butter knife?
No, I gave up on the knife. The knife is out now. Yeah, it made such a terrible sound as it cuts through.
You deaded the knife because of the sound?
It was the
gravel.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad. It was really hard to listen to. And then one of my dogs broke out in fucking hives, and the other dog now has something wrong with his leg, and he won't. This is the favorite, and he won't put any weight on it at all.
Oh, so,
So
you feel
this
bad
is
for him.
just and cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You know,
Yeah.
I have to take him to
Dollar
get an
signs in the bet
X-ray.
size.
I hope he just fucking gets over it, man.
Oh, that's what I forgot to say. And I watched Frailty this week.
Oh, and?
Well, all I can say, it's got Power Booth in it. He's great.
Isn't it Powers Booth?
Powers Booth, pardon me for the.
that's all right.
powers. He plays the FBI agent,
Yeah.
and it's Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Walks in his office and says he knows something about a murder. And the second they do the first flashbacks, and his brother kills himself, I go, oh, I knew right away that Matthew McConaughey was the killer. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I knew right away. And
Spoiler alert for any listeners.
it wasn't that good.
Thank you. That movie fucking sucks.
Because you have to. It's so religious.
Oh my God. Thank you.
And you have to buy into capital punishment.
God, that movie is fucking trash. Simon, that's why I said, I was like, I cannot believe you like that
They
movie.
have enough twists at the end. They're like, but it's not justified. You know
Kamar,
what I mean?
to me, the religious, you can't even say undertones, they're overtones.
Well, yeah,
Kill all the twists.
It's so like it's just a religious vehicle. I felt, although the scene where the last guy they're about to kill, and he screams, and it's the little kid with the axe, that was good. That jumped me out of my seat. It's very disturbing, all the murdering. Like, it makes you cringe. We think it's these people getting the axe, but no, it wasn't that good. But that being said, Bill Paxton was amazing in it. He plays a believable
Sure,
guy
okay.
who thinks that God is telling him to kill these people.
Yeah.
And he directed it. And I was thinking, because you guys don't have the wherewithal, we should do the movie game for it.
Right off the jump, before we even get into anything?
Because you'd even look into it or anything, do you?
All right, sure. Frailty. Right off the bat, folks, we're doing the movie game. 6 minutes in.
I just appreciate that you watched it, Kamar.
Of course, you asked me to.
I don't like your fucking synopsis of it. I don't care for your dismissal of it, but I do appreciate that you watched it.
All I know is I knew right away he was the killer, so that sort of ruined it for me. I was just waiting to see how they do it.
I did watch it many years ago, the first time. I didn't know that. It was a total surprise at the end. So imagine how great that would have been.
Definitely.
Put yourself into that
A
situation.
naive movie watcher might think it's really
Oh
good.
my God. How about just a younger movie watcher?
Well, I don't know. I guess you believed in God at the time. The God part is so gross.
Thank you.
But why do I have to believe in God? I don't know.
Because then these are horrible, crazy people. Like the whole thing is he's doing the Lord's work to rid the people of the pedophile. The woman killed her husband. They never showed what the other guy did.
Yeah.
And it only works if there's a God and he's serving under God.
Sorry, I'm super confused. So, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Fair enough. Simon, you want to write down the movie game numbers here?
Yeah, we were still talking about my week, man. My shitty week. He
Sorry.
jumped in.
I'm sorry.
And,
I'm sorry.
No, I was done.
Oh, okay.
I'm just.
I figured you were
it's
done,
all
yeah.
over.
Do you want to write down
something with the dog?
Do you want to write down
something else.
Frailty and the year you believe it came out?
Yeah.
You have a pen right
Is
there.
an experience first. It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head, figure out what year a movie came out, the budget, and the box office gross. This week we chose Frailty because Simon said it was an amazing movie. Matt said it wasn't, and I was going to be the deciding vote, and it was not an amazing movie.
Just right before we do this, which would be the perfect segment for us to do, which would be movies you made me listen or movies you made me watch. And the idea would be that, let's say Kamar would pick a movie that, like Frailty, he either thought was good or thought that you would like, or you know what I'm saying? But it would probably be a film that you would never pick on your own.
Well, I think it was unique because I'd never seen this movie, so that was exciting.
Well, that is exciting. Okay, Frailty.
Frailty, directed by Bill Paxton, starring Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey, Powers Booth, Luke Askew, Jeremy Sumpster, and Matt O'Leary. I mean, I think if you're young, it's cool because the movie's sort of about kids, sort of like in a Stand By Me way. I can see how that liked it, but I don't think you were that young when you saw it.
I was pretty young when I saw it.
I feel like doing the movie game. I feel like doing the movie game this early is like it's like in Buds when they wake you up after like an hour's sleep and just make you go out and like lift a boat.
Oh, you
like
got to
I'm
be
too
warmed up.
Yeah.
Well, I have
But
an
we're
idea.
gonna find out.
I have an idea for the movie game in the first episode as well. So
All right. Well, I'm ready, Simon.
when you're warmed up,
As far as year is concerned, I have my year written down.
Okay, let's go. Shit. We'll just do it this
and I just knew that even though you guys suggested it, there's no way you looked it up. Like,
Okay.
Oh fuck, dude, I would never want to. It's like
So the
cheating in a
year?
video game. Yeah, the year. Yeah,
I said year 2000.
I said 2002.
2001. You guys are always off by
Unreal,
over
man.
under.
Like, what the fuck?
None. 2001 it came out.
2001.
And like I said,
Oh, that was really fucking close.
like I said on the Patreon, like Point
Kamar?
Break is such a better movie, right?
Kamar, for the tiebreak, what month did it come out in 01?
You want us to guess a month?
No, I want to know who was closer.
Oh, because if you said 02,
Well, no, like if it was December of 01, then I was like fucking right there.
it was November 7th, 2001.
I'll take that win. Thank you very much.
No, you don't. Why do you
Lionsgate
get that
film.
win?
I don't know. You made us look it up.
That means I take the win. It was closer
no,
to me.
No, you made us go to the tiebreaker, and we can't decipher how many months it is, so you lose.
2 months. You
It's the
fucking
rules,
mopes.
Matt. It's the rules.
Okay, so we need a budget and a gross.
And it's a 99-minute movie, which is perfect time. That's another reason why I watch it happily.
Budget and a gross.
But yeah, the visions, the twist at the end was all right, but
All right, I'm ready. Fuck both of you. It's too early for the movie game, man. There's no way you keep listeners. They're like, what does this have to do with Joe Rogan? And I agree with them. What does this have to do with Joe
I agree
Rogan?
totally. And a gross. 2. Okay, go.
All right, I guess I'll go first. I said it cost $22.4 million to make, and it grossed 61.5.
Wow, I went way under that. I said it cost
You're probably right.
16 million to make and 42 million gross.
That's better.
No one liked this movie. It cost 11 million to make and made 17.4 million.
Oh my god! I'm not even writing that down.
And that's the bonus movie game.
You know what's crazy is I was like, I'll lowball it.
I thought it was sort of exciting. Just switch it up. How was your week, Matt?
Didn't lowball it enough. As usual.
Well, that was pretty good. I got the year and the
Close.
Are you just going to give
Closest
yourself the win for all of
Close-ish.
it?
I'll give you the win.
Why not just give yourself
got
3 points?
Man.
Sure.
I never win. I'm taking it all.
I'll give you the win.
Take it all.
All right, Kamar, run down the guests so we can actually get into what we really do here.
Thanks for asking, buddy. This week is tying up loose ends. It almost feels like the end of Silent Live, wouldn't you say? You know, the end where they all hug each other and like, thanks for coming out.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
We
but-
started the week off with 1523, Joey Diaz and Ryan Breadband.
which
followed
kills my theory.
by 1524, nicest man in the world, Ron Funches. Next up with everyone's favorite fat conspiracy, 1525, Tim Dillon. And finish with someone who's on way before the time, 1526, Ali Makovsky.
A 3. This week gets a 3.
I would give the week a 3 as well.
We're rating the week right now.
That's what we
I
do.
think that's what we just did.
That's how it works.
I give this week a 3 as well.
All right, we have an agreement.
An
A
agreement.
low-key agreement. Agreement.
Agree.
It'd be interesting to see how we
press
all
the
come
button.
to that with the same.
I also think that we're all maybe being generous in the 3.
We're going to find out, Maddie.
Yes, we
That's
are.
the fucking fun of this thing.
All right, let's start with Uncle Joey and Brian Redband.
So my very first note is, so Matthew, so much for your
yeah, I'm quick to
Red
say.
Band as the last guy, unless this was the last week before Joe, like maybe Joe's taking a week off or 2 weeks off
No,
to relocate.
to relocate.
no,
I think so.
I don't.
I think it's possible. Obviously, this week he took some time off for his birthday and then jammed it all in. But my first thought was, I think Brian deserves his own episode. I don't think he has enough to bring to an episode, but it just sort of felt like he got, okay, we'll group you in with Joey. And I feel bad also.
Shortchanged.
Short change. I also feel bad because last time Joey's on, I was like, I think this is going to be the last time he's going to be on. I think he's going to die. So
Joey
was so happy
gonna die?
wrong. At the beginning of COVID, I thought it was unhealthy. Get caught up.
Gotcha. Did you see the picture that Joe posted on the, you don't have Instagram, but the picture Joe posted on Instagram of Joey that he found while he was cleaning out his office?
It made me so excited because I found a picture similar to that for the thumbnail. Young Joey in his prime.
Wow. Yeah, he is super young. Young and handsome.
Back when he was slinging Dick Joe Rogan dog.
Yeah, this episode made me feel away, as Kamar says.
Like the end of an era.
Yeah, like we didn't even we haven't really paid it any mind because it's just crept up. But it feels definitely like, first of all, the mass exodus from LA. I don't know.
Everywhere.
And it just seems like it's, just having the two of them in the studio, it seems like the band is breaking up. I get it. It just feels like now, like Joe moving to Texas, it definitely feels to me like it's going to be more, like the podcast has moved in one direction. It started off as like just him and Brian shooting the shit, message boards, weird videos, funny topics, moved a little bit towards the science and the serious talks and, religion and this, that, and the next. But it seems like, I don't know, not having all the comedians right there, it's going to be an interesting couple of months for
I
sure.
think it's taking a life of his own. But I mean, obviously, if I get ahead of ourselves, if he does the comedy club, there'll be comedians coming in all the time. Just perfect timing to shoot over, do a podcast before they're set that night.
Well, and they'll have way more reason to come to do the show and then maybe do a weekend at his club or whatever, because he's mentioned now numerous times that he is opening a comedy club in
course.
Texas.
Well, he has the money.
Well,
Only makes
I think
sense.
I think I said that a couple of episodes ago.
Also, he said, in the McCloskey episode at the end, he was like, I just like helping people out. So what better way than to have not only the biggest podcast in the world, but you now have like a hub comedy store where you can become the Mitzi. And you can pass people and you can be the one to make people cry when you know what I mean? It's
Well, I don't think he even wants to do that. I think it's just another opportunity for him to help comedians.
I don't think he has the time to do that. He'll probably have a
Maybe not
bad
now, but you don't know.
But the same way he said
know.
about McCloskey, who this is her second time on.
I think it's her first. I said it was her first.
I'm sure it's her first.
I'm pretty sure it's her second.
No,
But
I think you're just balling her in with every other female.
no,
comedian.
because I remember her telling the story about her performing at that big venue with him. Like that was the second time I've heard
She
that.
told the story twice on the podcast. That's even grosser.
He told the story the first time, and then she.
Let's just find out. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's not even her episode. But what was I going to say?
I don't know.
I don't know either. What were we talking about?
We were just talking about how it's sort of at the end of an era, the beginning of a new one. And I was thinking about how sad it'd be if it was Joe's last episode.
Whatever.
How weird that if he just decided I don't want to do this anymore, or things have changed. Say he had a cognitive disease or something.
Considering he just signed a massive deal with Spotify, we know that that's it would he'd have to die suddenly in like a Kobe Bryant.
That would be way more tragic. But in another universe where he just decided to hang it up, like I'm going to do 2,000 episodes and then walk away, I don't think how sad that would have been.
You tapped on metal there.
There's no wood around me.
Well,
What do you want me to do?
It's right in front of you.
Where?
The tray.
That's fucking. Come on, man. We know this is
Closer
wood.
than the fucking metal.
Give me a lighter and shut up.
Well, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
I have a lighter. Just shut up then.
Rude. So rude. I'm still trying to figure out what I was talking about Ali McCloskey. It doesn't fucking
We know
matter.
it wasn't important.
Nothing I say is important.
Nothing any of us says is important.
Do you think Trump's going to legalize weed? Is that possible?
No.
No, it's impossible.
So of course, it's possible.
No.
If he's really afraid of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, he could do a number of things to win the vote, and that would be tough for people to get mad about.
Well, recusing. We're going to see if that's the word. All small time offenders, drug offenders. That would be a way to get some votes.
And it's not like
Because
he
you'd be
gives a fuck.
letting like just a ton of people's uncles go, or you know what you hear me?
Because I mean, this is breaking news, but of course, Kamala Harris was picked, and you know she's not going to legalize marijuana. Seeing that she's going to be president, probably inevitably.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if she was to just totally flip flop on what she stood for before. Whatever.
It'd be
I don't
interesting
know.
if that came down to the big issue
legalizing weed.
federally. Yeah.
Bless you, Matthew. Bless you.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Let me say this.
The new mics pick those sneezes up like no one's business.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the opposite. Maybe I just have. Maybe it's that everyone else is better at editing than I am. It's crazy to me that like we're at a point in the world where, like, it really is just Kamala Harris is on the bill because she's a woman of color, but that's where it ends because she doesn't represent people of color almost at all.
No, she stands for horrible things. Her
I'm well
track
aware.
record is terrible. And Joe didn't say that. I don't even understand.
And why wasn't Tulsi Gabbard considered? Or maybe she was, but I think we all agree that would have been a better.
Are you guys
more
aware
exciting
of?
pick.
Are you guys aware of the? So when Kamala Harris was not the district attorney, but the the attorney general of California, or was she? Either way, she was up there in the California legislature, and they found out that there was a woman in the crime lab in Oakland who was doing all of the drug samples. And when
She was consuming them.
like
you
doing
mean?
the drugs from the samples?
Yes. And she was constantly showing, like, not showing up to
Amazing.
work. So all of her shit was getting backlogged. And they ended up finding out, and they were like, okay, well, we got to throw 20 cases out because they're tainted because of this woman. And they ended up finding out that it was like thousands of cases. And I mean thousands. And Kamala Harris ended up finding this out and didn't do anything about it. Like, you know what I mean? She knew that this woman had tainted, and she was still prosecuting people even though they knew.
Well, we knew she was a piece of shit from the Project Freedom guys, and even before that.
No, but that's what. Thank you, Kamar. That's exactly where I was going next. Joe just heard what a terrible track record this lady has when it comes to locking up people in just from that one guy who he obviously believes. The
Yeah.
help me out, Innocence Project guy. But then he doesn't say that. Like
Again, I think he's actually worried about getting painted as a straight up conservative right
Yeah,
wing. You know what I mean?
He's,
Like,
he's still saying that Biden has his mental faculties are unquestionable, but I think he's found his platform's too big, and when he says stuff, it resonates too much. So
He's worried about swaying the election.
or piling on Kamala Harris.
Well, you know what? Justifiably, I don't know enough about anything, but what I do know about her is
Sucks.
nothing is good.
yeah.
The
She
wanting
sucks.
to lock up parents of truant children. Like, she just sounds like a totally unreasonable person.
Here's the problem with those rules too: is like you leave it up to overzealous district attorneys by putting in place something like. Because I looked into the numbers, they only ended up locking up like a handful. It doesn't matter. The fact that they locked up anyone,
For that?
yeah.
Too many.
I thought she just proposed that. I didn't know they actually put that into law.
No, I'm pretty sure I read that they actually.
No.
I'll pull it up.
That's insane.
He's pretty sure he read it. I believe it.
I'll pull it up. Can you write it in your notes so that I
Sorry,
can?
I'm totally shocked. If that's the case, like...
Can you write it in your notes, please, so that I can check it out for the post, Joe? Here, I'll write it.
with my pen.
I'll write it.
Anyways. Yeah, moving on. She's terrible. From what I know, she's terrible. I thought Joe would have said at least this is the worst move he could have made, Biden. Where is Tulsi Gabbard to whoever just made that point? Very valid. Like,
What's crazier too is they were this week they were showing during the Democratic debate, like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden trashing each other.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? How they
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
around and now Bernie's like, vote for them, even though they all shit down his throat. And as the shit's coming out his teeth, he's like, vote for Joe Biden. We're in this together.
and
It's all disgusting.
Am I wrong to say that Tulsi Gabbard also a woman of color?
Not as much color.
But still.
Yeah, well, that's what I said right away.
So
Okay,
she
I
would
think
have fit the bill.
When they say woman of color, they don't mean Hispanic. I think Tulsi Gabbard falls in the Hispanic. Does
So
she not?
It had to be a black woman who was going to be his running mate. It just,
That's what he said.
I thought he was implying, I just don't want some white bitch.
Who knows?
Possibly, but she's obviously the most compromised because she was the one who brought the Kavanaugh witness forward.
Either way, I think they don't want Simon. They're looking for someone that could potentially be. They don't want Tulsi Gabbard to be
Yeah,
president.
she's too much of a maverick.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The witness that came forward and said she got raped by Kavanaugh was Kamala Harris, was the one who was sitting on her, and then brought to the DNC. So that's probably what she did to get in the good graces. But they want a company person,
Okay, gotcha.
for lack of a better word.
Do you guys know anything about Ruby Ridge?
How much tobacco's in this?
I don't know, Maddie.
I think I got the all tobacco joint.
It might just be a clump.
I know everything about Ruby Ridge that was in the movie about Ruby Ridge.
Sorry, 1 second. I legitimately don't even taste the tobacco I put in my joints. So
Well, again, because I only smoke pure. So, of
Yeah.
course, if, like, let's say there is a clump at the end, it's unfiltered tobacco.
well, no, I just might put more tobacco than you like.
I get
in
it. But
your
even then,
joints.
you smoke cigarettes. Like
You're going
on
to
the
get a head
regular.
rush Joe loves when he smokes that
Yeah,
one cigarette
that's
every
it.
once in a while.
Ruby Ridge was a movie.
There's a movie about Ruby Ridge. I don't think it's called Ruby Ridge. It might have been called The Ridge or something like that.
Okay. But you know the story.
Yep.
Happened right kind of before Waco.
Like within a month.
It was really I don't want to say the precipice, but there was obviously electricity in the air, you know? About they didn't want, I don't know if the CIA was
I think it was the FBI.
whoever it was.
And the ATF was Waco.
No, but if the powers that be were like no more whatever, cuz
Don't let these situations get out of control.
but it wasn't Ruby Ridge, there was no situation.
No, they just fucked up.
They just fucked up. They went there to get him.
And he didn't want to come out, so get off my land, and then they end up shooting his family.
I think it's even worse than that. I think like why do they even go up there?
Because someone said he had guns or something up there.
Anyways,
But that's why the Oklahoma City bombing was as a response to Waco and Ruby Ridge.
it was.
And they were talking about these explosions, which interesting too, because they caught like them driving away like 2 hours after the Oklahoma City bombing. This is for crime prevention and stuff.
They caught them driving.
It
away.
didn't take 2 weeks for them to apprehend Timothy McVeigh, and I think it was Terry Nichols was the two guys that set the bomb off.
So they set the bomb off in a truck
I
outside.
think it was U-Haul in
and
front
then
of the building.
took off in a different truck.
Yep, and got caught right away.
So what are you saying about that?
It was just maybe they were set up and they just put it all together. It just seems like sometimes people get away with crimes for months, years, and then they get caught. But what I was surprised at, they didn't mention the Lebanon bombing when they're talking about explosions and just what's going on. I just thought that was interesting that they didn't mention
There
that
were
at all.
a couple of things that weren't mentioned this week, but we'll just move on.
So we won't mention them either.
So Joey used to pull his own teeth out using Jack Daniels.
It was a different time.
It's a real Fed smoker move.
What the fuck, man? Like, he was a real animal back in the day, eh?
Sounds like it, yeah.
You know what's a great movie
Go on.
that I forgot how great it was? Is Friday.
Friday's incredible.
The first Friday is
was such a big part of my high school.
It was like a
time.
must to have that on DVD.
Friday, Menace to Society.
Man Society all day and day.
And yeah, those two were huge. The other movie they talked about was Juice because they were. It was all about
Tupac.
Tupac,
acting.
double threats. Yeah, rappers who become.
See, I think they got it wrong, though. I think Tupac was always an actor and that he just played a rapper.
He played a rapper. That's
He acted as a rapper. Yeah.
That's it.
That's interesting.
But I think a lot of rapping is that, playing a part.
Ice Cube, Ice T.
Yeah.
It's the inevitable.
Listen,
No
if
one
you
wants to
talk,
rap.
there's a lot of people that talk about Ice Cube in the same light. They're like, he wasn't gangster. Like in the neighborhood, he wasn't a gangster. He wasn't related to any fucking gang shit. But when it came to rapping, you just believe that shit because he was good. You know what I mean? And it showed in
He
his
had a great
acting.
cadence.
Exactly. It's, listen, it is what it is. Besides, do you really want your entertainers actually involved in fucking serious gang shit? Like,
Well, we used to, but now that Tekashi's pulled away the veil, I mean, I think when I was a kid,
I mean, yeah, you wanted,
in a sick way, romanticized NWA was these thugs, and I mean, Eazy was.
but that's because you wanted it to be real. That's my point. It wasn't so much like you wouldn't want to meet those dudes,
No. Well, I don't know.
but like you would have wanted to hang out with the Beastie Boys back then. But do you think you would have been able to hang out in a room with, I don't know, with NWA? Probably not.
Probably not. I probably feel like a fish out of water. The lighter pigment of my skin.
Well, you look at me, fuck. Suge Knight doesn't seem like he was a great person.
But I mean, I think when I was at NWA, I was 14. You were 7. Were you listening to NWA when you're 7, or do you listen when you were like 10?
No, but I remember like once the early '90s hit, older dudes on the block listen to tons of rap. That was my introduction to like Snoop and NWA and that stuff.
Which is that summer was all Dr. Feelgood and NWA, which is what solidified my like of rock and rap.
well, like Snoop and NWA don't have a connection for me. In
That's weird.
well, just like I listened to NWA, it feels like way earlier than I listened to.
Well, yeah, because Snoop
way
only came
later.
along in the Chronic, like '93, whereas NWA was around in like the '80s.
But it's all Dre.
Yeah,
And I had no idea at the time. I mean, what I know now is when Death Certificate came out and all Ice Cube's America's KKK's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Like what was going on that he broke
behind
up.
the scenes.
Like,
Yeah,
for me,
no
it was always
Vaseline
like,
and stuff.
what happened to NWA? But it was like,
Well, NWA
they're-
was still around, and they were doing like hate
no,
songs
Easy was
against
dead.
Ice Cube.
Easy was dying.
No, but there was a time when they were going back and
Yeah,
forth,
no
each
Vaseline
doing
and yeah,
songs
that's what I
about
said,
each
yeah.
other. Yeah.
because management ended up screwing it all up.
Well, I think Eazy-E may have been.
CIA.
Thank
Here
you.
we go. Of course.
Anyone who dies of AIDS has got to be CIA back then.
Or maybe not dead.
That's interesting. He's pulling the strings up in the hills with
Tupac.
Epstein,
Tupac.
Tupac, all
Tretch-
just fucking chilling on an island.
Tretch from Naughty by Nature walked out of a DJ Vlad interview when he asked him, he was like, is Tupac still alive? And he was like, if Tupac was still alive, I wouldn't motherfucking tell nobody. You know what I mean? So just to keep that fucking bullshit alive.
And he stormed out.
He stormed out of a few. DJ Vlad is a piece of shit.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he rubs me the wrong way. It's funny though, because when we were growing up, the only person who was still alive was Elvis. I don't know if you remember that, but that was the big thing, that Elvis was still alive
I don't remember
for
Elvis being alive.
years. Well, no, Elvis lives. Whatever. It was just a meme before
Yeah.
memes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, of course.
I actually want to do the movie game with this because Joey talks about so many movies, but Rambo, First Blood, the first one,
I was too young. I remember my dad,
was amazing movie, just amazing.
I remember watching it and feeling like I was getting away with something.
Well, it was so real. It was just so real. Filmed in Port Hope, BC. Canadian
Wasn't
connection.
it directed by Stallone? Or written by
Pull out another
Stallone?
edition of the
Not
movie game and
Rocky?
find
That's
out.
Rocky. But I feel like he had something to do with Rambo
Rocky
too.
was Stallone calling his own
Look
shot.
that up, man. Look
We're not
that
doing
up.
another movie
No,
game
no.
here.
I just want him to look up who the director was and whatever the creds for
Gotcha.
that movie.
But Joey just loves movies, and I'm looking forward to see his performance in The Sopranos.
Listening to him talk about Narcos, I'm telling you, if you didn't watch Narcos Mexico, you have to watch it.
I'm gonna do a really bad
Impersonation.
of Joey here,
Okay, yeah.
but this was so good when he said, "Joe Rogan,
It's not bad.
I'm the guy who'll break into your house,
That's pretty bad.
steal 1 ounce of coke and 1 shoe,
Yeah, well, yeah.
just so you wonder where the fuck is my shoe."
Be sitting there months later going, where the fuck did that shoe go? How did I lose one shoe?
I wish I'd known that was how
That
the,
is
the key.
such gold. Those are the moments of gold for Joey. You know, he's not even thinking about it. He just says something that's so hilarious. I don't know. He's a good shit, man.
He did not direct it. He was involved in the screenplay. But it's so weird when he's talking about Narco. Like, I was like, of course, Joey. I love Narco. And the praise he gave the actor.
Yeah,
And
Mora.
but he couldn't remember his name. But he's like, this guy's going to kill everybody, Joe.
People are fucking saying he's a shit actor because his Spanish is garbage. Fuck you. This guy's an incredible actor.
But it's such a weird thing how we love these drug dealer things. Even though they're the worst people. You just suspend your morality and just you're like a fly on the wall. Like it's just so weird how
I don't think you suspend your morality. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I'm not going to watch this because I don't want to. I guess you're not really supporting drug dealers, and they all end up dying in the end. But I mean, I love the series as much as Joey did. I was there right with him.
If you'll humor me for a sec, I'd just like to say first, I love Joe. Okay?
I can't wait to hear this.
I love Joe.
Okay.
I'm all about Joe.
Oh my God, this is a fucking compliment sandwich here.
But I feel like because we do this stupid fucking podcast, I have a responsibility to bring some things to light, you know?
Okay.
What the fuck is going on with Brian Callen?
Oh, did you hear what Joey said?
Yes.
He referred to him as that other guy.
Brendan and that other guy. Okay, so just hold on. I have
You don't remember that?
I have
Yeah,
that
well, that
right.
was
He's
like-
saying that I told you not to go, Joe. It's like, well, you didn't tell me not to go, and then Brendan and that other guy went, and I was like, whoa.
But hear me out.
I heard him say that on his podcast like a week ago too, so it wasn't as shocking for me. But go ahead.
I think this is what I think, okay? I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm certain that Joe tells every guest who comes in, we're not talking about Brian.
Well, what do you
don't
wa-
mention Brian?
Yeah,
Callen.
I totally think that's
because
what it
his
is.
name does not get mentioned, and the closest we got in 4 episodes to mentioning the name Brian Callen, I'm not even talking about the situation, just in passing the name, was that guy.
But what do you want? Like what like just perfect case scenario. He goes, I stand by. Brian told me he didn't do it. I stand by him. I don't want to talk about it because he's going through his stuff, and then we're gonna leave it at that.
I think he has to say something. I don't think he
But
has
why?
to stand up for it.
Well, no, I'm just curious. Like, if you get accused of rape, do I have to make a statement?
If from the podcast,
Well, that's different. We're on a podcast together. But if we're not on a podcast together, you have your own podcast and I have my own podcast. If you get accused of rape, do I have to make a statement because we're friends?
you don't have to do anything. I would have expected that Joe would have broached the subject in some
He
regard.
didn't say anything about Dalia.
He didn't say anything about Dalia either. I find this all peculiar.
I find it a little bit peculiar because Joe's always said that he's my best friend.
This isn't some other comedian. This is his guy. And again, I'm going to say it. I don't think he has to come out and even support Brian at this point.
Then there's no point. Because if he doesn't support him, then he has armchair quarterbacks like us reading into what that means. Because if he does support Brian, and then Brian ends up going to jail for 10 years for rape, then he looks like a real piece of shit.
What if he
How about this, too?
What if he just mentions it like it exists and doesn't support or not support anyone, but just the fact that we're ignoring it completely and we're having to like guys are having to say that guy. I don't know, man.
It took him weeks to address Ari Shafir.
Can we remember too that Joe is? Can we remember that Joe is so close to Brian that there's potential that he could say something on his podcast that could be used against Brian in a court case, and that he should just be fucking as tight-lipped as possible, because that's super. He has one of the biggest platforms in the world. Everyone listens. That's super important.
Again, yes, all of those things are true. Possible. I would have thought that Joe would have at least said, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm aware of the situation, but I'm not going to talk about it.
But hold on. I
Just
think
that sounds
but hear me
suspect.
out.
Total
But
radio silence.
But by not talking about it, you'd have to be an idiot to assume he is not aware of the situation, right? So by not talking about it, he's saying, without saying it, I'm not talking about this. I don't know, and until I know for sure, Brian's obviously not coming on the show.
Certainly not moving to Texas.
Oh,
Is he not now?
I'm sure he still is. He's a sheep. He'll follow Joe everywhere he goes. I mean, no, it's just
Because Brendan's having second thoughts now.
well.
I mean, you said that last week, but is he?
That's what he said.
What's interesting, just sidebar, Crowder has been remonetized on YouTube, and he had Brian on like yesterday, and asked him unequivocally, "Did you do it?" And Brian said, "No." I said, "Okay, that's all I have to know." So I feel a vote of confidence of Brian, because if I had just my channel remonetized, I would not have him on if I thought it was a risk of doing something wrong. But he had him on.
I totally disagree with that. First of all, no one's going to get accused of rape and come out and be like, yep. Right? We can all agree on that?
I guess.
Especially if you assume that there could potentially be a criminal case coming up.
I guess you could just not bother going on any shows, though. Like, don't put yourself out there to. That would be the other way to handle it.
Okay, but we learned from Lance Armstrong that some people are just built to lean into it extra hard and deny till they die 10 times harder. And then when the truth comes out, just be like, you got me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know enough details. I don't know Brian personally. I don't want to comment on it until it's done and done. Because, I don't know. I just think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to be the judge, jury, and executioner from where we're sitting.
I 1000% agree. I said that from the very first thing that happened. That's not what this is about.
No, of course not.
It's not even about Brian. This is about why has Joe not.
But again, I think from where I'm sitting, it's very simple. It's his, like you said, they're so tight, and I think Joe has a huge empire that he's trying to protect, and in doing that, it's just best to not mention it. Why bother?
But it stood out when Joey said that other guy.
Yeah, but you got to at least agree that he's made it clear that nobody should talk about it.
Sure. But I think
nobody's going to ask him, because somebody would have asked him by this point.
Listen, if you listen to the Church of What's Happening, Joey says often, and I mean often, Brendan or that other guy, or Brian and that other guy. I think it's just a running joke that he has where like he's friends. Okay.
I feel like this was an omission.
That may be possible. That one may have been a one-off, but 3-4 episodes all week. I have numerous points where I was like, oh, that's where they should have talked about Brian. Oh, this was a bit of a perfect opportunity to talk about Brian.
Again, too big a platform. Like Schulz had no problem talking about it. And obviously, if you join their Patreon, I'm sure maybe Brian says, I asked Joe not to talk about it or whatever, addresses that.
There you go. Maybe that's a good push for their Patreon. Like, think about it. You give us $5 and you'll get to hear Brian talk about his potential rape charge. And then boom, 5,000 people sign up.
Did you guys notice when they were talking about electric bikes? And Joe thinks the worst things are going to happen, eh? You hit a curb and rack around a tree, you're dead.
2 people just died.
And, accidents are going to happen, but Jamie blurted out, keep your eyes open.
Yes, I have that written down, yeah.
That was a highlight of this podcast for me.
Oh, can someone go back and give me the exact time?
The timestamp of that?
Yeah, I'm going to need that. Not now, but at some point this week.
There's a guy on YouTube called Timestamp Guy that timestamps every single point of each podcast, and I'm sure he'll have
Our podcast?
No.
No, we're not that important yet. We're not
Oh, of Joe's podcast.
Fuck
Got you.
no.
Sorry. Yes, agreed.
It'll be like 22 electric bike discussion. So it'll be in
Yeah,
there.
okay.
How about that Johnny Russo kid who fucked Marilyn Monroe when he was 15 years
So
old?
again, DJ Vlad interviewed that guy. They have him talking about it.
That's crazy.
And I've got to agree that I thought Joe was gross.
Joe went so hard there, eh?
I think
Was
Brian
he joking? But was he joking or was he being serious?
He was sort of talking about the double standard and like that'd be all right, but I like way to go for her. But I think she was drugged up and disgusting, like Brian said, and they're like, get away from her. Like
Well, that too, but also
his assessment, I agreed way
also,
more than
I wonder, like, I don't know, man. Of course, Marilyn Monroe, amazing, you know. But what if it's some teacher? Like, just you guys don't have kids, but I'm putting myself in this. I'm sure you can put yourself in the position. Your son like gets fucked by some like way older woman, and what if she's only like kind of hot? You know.
I don't think that'd be the problem. I think the problem is if the kid either really fell in love with her, but it was a one-time thing, and that could be effective, like his heartbreak. Like
There could be so much like
it could be detrimental to the development. And you know, people who always have sex when they're 13 or 14, they're always fucked up. Like it's not they wear it as a badge of honor when you're young, but then they sometimes go up to have intimacy issues and stuff. But I just felt Joe was really callous and that she was completely abused and so hopped on the drugs and didn't know what she's doing. And he made it seem like she was empowered to sleep with this 15-year-old guy. And they shut Brian down.
Another victim of the CIA.
It'll be there. Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Well, a victim of Frank Sinatra and John F. Kennedy.
She was the honey trap, buddy.
Listen, going back to that, if your son comes up to you,
Yeah. If it's Marilyn Monroe,
but that's what I'm saying.
I agree.
So think about it like in this context, like in today's context. If your son, 16 years old, comes up to you and is like, I was at a party last night, Scarlett Johansson was so fucked up, and I don't know what happened, but she ended up sucking my dick. First of all, you're going to be like, well, you're telling me, so high five. Love the communication. But also, like, are you going to be, that's a tough one to be genuinely angry about. I mean, there's a part of you that's going to have to stop and be like, listen, you should never have sex with a drunk chick or a drugged up chick. You're asking to catch a rape charge. Terrible idea. Terrible. But on the other hand, how was it?
Marilyn Monroe.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like-
get you there. I just
Again, though, if your 15-year-old daughter comes up and is
Not
like,
acceptable.
I sucked James Franco's
James
dick last
Dean.
night, you're going to be like, I'm going to get, where's my gun? And how do I find James fucking Franco?
well,
like,
James Dean. That would be the equivalent to
Sure.
Marilyn Monroe, right? So boom, no good, no bueno.
I just think Joe romanticized it way too much, and it was a lot uglier than.
I thought so too.
but keep in mind, in that day, like, Jerry Lee Lewis was marrying his 13-year-old cousin, and like people were like, well, it's not that bad. Come on.
Elvis.
Oh, there you go.
Elvis.
Priscilla
Monroe.
Presley was like, what?
14.
14. Yeah, exactly. And again, everyone was like, that's the king, baby.
But I said that, and Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire.
Wasn't that the first one I said?
That's the first
Is
one
it?
he said.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at a
That's
note.
fine.
Shit, I lost it. Forget it. Oh yeah, those scooters. People are gonna get hurt on those scooters, man. I'm watching them veer into traffic. They're idiots. They're all drunk and stupid.
Hold on. Listen, I've seen a ton of people using them responsibly. I also saw a girl yesterday in high heels on one, and I was like, you don't look like you can walk properly in high heels, let alone.
People are going to get hurt.
Apparently, once you get the app, if you message them, they'll send you a free helmet because they do want to encourage safe riding. But people are going to be people. I don't know. I think bikes are just dangerous. But someone's going to get run over on a scooter, and maybe that'll be a big change.
Well,
it's inevitably
It will
gonna
be.
happen.
It's kind of like the Airbnb, right? Like everything was hunky dory until somebody got shot at a fucking house party, and then
Yeah, but
they
Kamar-
started putting laws into effect.
But Kamar brings up a good point. Like, we're so quick nowadays to just be like, someone died, we have to ban it. Like, bikes, it's a good example. So many people die on bikes, but they're everywhere, and we just accept it as like, well, that's how it.
No, they have to wear a helmet. That's
You don't have to wear a helmet.
I'm saying they should have to wear a helmet to ride those scooters.
You should
Okay, but you
want
don't have to wear a helmet when you
riding
ride
those
a bike.
scooters.
You should also have to wear a helmet
you
when
don't
you ride
have
a bike.
to.
There is a bylaw that says you have to wear a helmet when
No,
you ride
there
a
is
bike.
not.
I'm pretty sure they can give you
If you're under 16,
if
yes.
you're under 16. Yes.
But you see what I'm saying is, so as an adult, you have the choice to say, "Fuck it, I'll ride this bike however I want." Now, again, if you're drunk and you're riding a bike, technically you can get a Dewey. But I'm just saying, like, I don't
I
see.
mean, it's like a mask thing, right? If you just make it the law, then everybody will wear the helmet.
I get it, but what I'm saying, Simon, is like, to Kamar's point, we've had bikes. People die on bikes all the time. They're not going away. We're not trying to ban bikes. It's a weird reaction to just say someone died on a scooter. We can't have them anymore. They're a danger to society. We can't just, like Joe talks about all the time, we're nerfing everything. Why?
I feel like
I want the idiots on scooters to die.
you know the bikes
Natural selection.
that you can rent, not these electric scooters,
blue one?
actual bikes.
Yeah.
I do believe you have to wear a helmet when you ride those.
I don't think so.
No?
And
Fine.
the saving grace is that all these scooters are going to be shut down in mid-November or whatever for 4 months. So that'll.
Well,
I
they
had a
put
jo-
skis on them at that point. They're little
Okay,
like
well,
Keep in
you
mind, Kamar,
definitely want to wear helmets.
Ottawa's a test run anyway.
I think they banned them in Montreal. If
They
you don't
did,
want 'em.
yeah.
I did a joke that if you get a ticket for O Train, you get 10 minutes on a scooter. You get a better chance of getting there. For those who don't know, we have a O Train. I think it was a $3 billion
We have the
project.
world's worst light rail.
Does
in
not
Ottawa.
work when it's too cold and does not work when it's too hot, and that's all Ottawa is. Thank you, City Council.
Oh, thanks. Whatever, fuck.
Monorail. Mono means
They're
one.
Still trying
Rail
to
means
fix
rail.
that fucking thing. I don't even think it's running right now.
No, it's a boondoggle.
Anyways, the other shitty thing that happened this week was I found a male in my plants.
And they were
Joe, he's
all
talking about
together.
Narcos.
They're all fucked.
I'm surprised Joe knows so little about growing weed.
Yeah, it's really
In,
shocking.
in his time coming up, that they had that discussion about the males and impregnating or being around female plants and ruining
Maybe he
clones
just
and
didn't
whatnot.
remember. I forget all the time.
But did,
No, I don't.
did you catch your male in time? Do you think?
No. They're all
way.
fucked.
Oh, you got a hermaphrodite.
Well, I will end up with her.
You don't want to. You don't want to gender your plants though. It's 2020.
No, we don't do that anymore. Yeah, okay. So yeah, he's definitely opening a club in Texas. You know when they were talking about Motion Plus on the TV?
Yeah.
I think that's what you have.
Yeah,
on
Jared and I
yours.
spoke about it last
That's
night.
all that fucks me up.
Jared and I spoke about it last night before you showed up.
So maybe you need to turn that off.
But is that
No,
only
because-
a Samsung?
No, there's a lot of TVs have it. First of all, once you're used to it, you're used to it forever on every TV. It doesn't take long to get used to
I've
either.
watched TV a ton of times at your house. It always fucks me up. So maybe you should just turn it off.
No.
That was the only reason Brian was on the show. He's like, I can't
explain
believe,
that? Yeah.
I can't believe you guys still have motion action on your TV or whatever it's called. It's like the third last episode of the studio. If I was still doing this, this wouldn't have happened. I thought it was hilarious when Joe went on his rant about Trump and fracking. Like, he doesn't know anything about fracking. Do you know anything about fracking? And then he goes, actually, Jamie, I don't know anything about fracking. Look it up.
I agreed with him though.
With you don't want your toilet lighting on fire if you light a match because of stinky shit. Yeah, I agree.
But here's my problem with Trump is I feel like Obama or any other president, even conservative or Democrat, in the past would have been like, can someone at least give me a 3-hour briefing on what fracking is? And I need to know all the whereas Trump would be like, just someone else figure it out.
I heard someone this week just reiterate what a bad decision it was to go into Libya. So I just don't think any of these guys look at all the issues in it. They just cannot, because had they had the foresight to see what was going to happen in Libya, I doubt they would have done that.
So
That's fine. You just keep defending him.
I must.
moving off that, I'm pretty much done with what I had.
It's good. We got to move on anyway.
Perfect. So I'll leave you with this because this sums up Joey Diaz, and I guess whatever Brian Redmond. He said, when COVID started, I'll do it. No, I'm not going to do it. When COVID started, he called up the guy he kidnapped just to make sure he was doing okay.
You can't cancel Joey Diaz, dog.
Let's leave it at that.
I thought it was a really enlightening when he also revealed that he had stolen the essence of the guy from Leonard Skinner, and that's all he's doing on a stage. That
Yeah, but that-
strut on.
That resonated with me so hard because I was like, I think everyone, almost from the beginning of time, is just impersonating
Of
someone
course,
else.
you must.
Like if you listen to any white rock musician, they're like, my whole stage presence I stole from James Brown. And then if you go past them, they're like, oh, I stole mine from Mick Jagger, who stole his from, you know what I mean? So
You call it stealing, influence, whatever. If you don't see it, you can't be it.
Every once in a while, you'll run into the true type of genius that revolutionizes something so totally, like their sound is so different.
Sure,
or
but that's
their
like-
art is so different. I agree.
generational. It's like one or
It's-
two.
most geniuses are, like you said, they borrow from other people a little bit, and that's how they get. But that's neat when you do see that, just that one.
But even then, when you see that one and you ask them, they'll be like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Everyone has an influence. Like when you ask that genius, they'll still say, it might not seem to you, like you'll be like, where did that, you know what I mean? Like you could look at a comedian and be like, oh, you're revolutionary. And they'll be like, oh, because I grew up listening to Hicks and Pryor. But you'll be like, but I don't see Hicks and Pryor in your act.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? Like,
It's probably those people who actually are they're probably so far on the spectrum that they're not even able to tell you what it's all about.
I think everyone's influenced by someone. And sometimes it'd be like you don't even know that it was that influence. You'd assume it was influence. Like I wonder, Trent Reznor, I would think he's like sort of a contemporary artist that's very original, like Nine Inch Nails, but I'm sure.
but again, I
was
bet if
David
you ask,
Bowie or
I was
something,
just
like,
going to say, if you ask Trent
whatever it
Reznor,
is.
I bet he'd be like, oh, my fucking 5 influences were, and I bet some of them you'd be like, wow, really, that one? Like he might even be like, oh, Little Richard for sure.
I think you would have to look to again, and I'm not a music guy, so I don't know the example here, but you got to look from the break from classical music into I don't know, jazz or whatever, that thing that just, they're nothing the same at all.
But even then, you could say that about anyone that starts a genre.
Yeah, I guess. So the people who start a genre, those are the true
You know what I mean? Because
revolutionaries.
but even then, like the person that started rap, you know what I mean? Like they had all their influences were like Motown and James Brown and
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it still
yeah.
comes from something else in a way. You're just kind of creating your own lane from the, I don't know. It's a
And
tough.
what's crazy is someone today is being influenced by Tekashi 6ix9ine.
oh, God,
And we're going to see
no.
that 10 years from
God,
now.
no.
It's inevitable.
They're learning to be a rat who works for the CIA. Go figure.
But if you work for the CIA, then you were never a rat to be, weren't you?
It's a crazy
weird paradox,
scam
isn't
they're
it?
running on this one. And one day, Matt, they'll make a podcast about it and we'll learn the truth.
Okay,
But
fair
I don't
enough.
know how it works. It's like they've put him in prison and then released him so that it seems fishy, so that we're like, no, that can't possibly be the case. It's like 6D chess,
Winds of change.
Winds of change.
Can you rate it, Simon?
Yes, I will give this episode a 3.5, 3.25.
I'll go 3.5. Kamar?
I give it a 4. My only qualm is that I think Brian deserved his own episode.
I was going to say Brian wasn't very terribly disruptive this episode.
Well, good luck getting a word in edgewise with Joey Diaz. In the
No,
room.
that's very true. Good
Well,
point.
and he didn't even try to interrupt Joey.
except for
He
the having the motion option on the TV. He piped up for
I
that
thought
one.
Joey might have been in the bathroom.
And I sided with Brian on the Marilyn Monroe discussion. But so Joey's moving to New Jersey, ending his podcast. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that he's.
It's
just
crazy though that he's
stopping.
ending his podcast.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Well, no, but I said it's chemistry. Like he's not bringing Lee to New Jersey.
Yeah, but Lee was going to leave anyway, wasn't he? Wasn't
And
that?
is Lee that important to the show that he couldn't get another comedian?
I
to
think
fill
for
in the
Joey,
gap?
he's like a field guy, and he's like that's his guy. I'm sure a month later because he said he wanted to leave on top, just like this, not stringing together. That's what he said on this podcast. And I didn't notice when he said he wanted to be protected by the.
But oh yeah, that's what I
the,
told Kamar. I
Mafia,
he
but that's
did.
possible.
He said he wanted to move to New Jersey because I need the protection, dog.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the other thing they talked about. This America is coming undone.
It is
Compared to-
he
We'll get to that.
He wants to be protected by the mob. He knows guys who are mobbed up in Jersey, And he wants to be around guys he knows will take care of him.
But he did more episodes with
I shifted halfway through the
I
word
saw.
there.
he did more episodes with Lee Syed than with guests. You listen to a lot of the church, eh?
I listen to a bunch of the
Often he
church,
does.
yeah.
It's just him and Lee, and I don't think he's a he's an old dog. New tricks is hard to learn. He doesn't want to start a podcast with new chemistry with a new producer.
Dude, there
he
must
can't
be
do it by himself.
somebody in Jersey or New York, who would be like so excited.
800
to-
episodes.
Listen.
You're just discounting it.
Yeah, okay.
No, but
I
I
don't
think
listen
hold
to
on.
it, so
I
don't
think
know.
what you're doing though, you're both forgetting that like, yeah, he started this thing. He's also the kind of guy where he's going to get there. There's not going to be much stand up, and he's not going to have this thing that's been in his life, this normal thing. He'll probably after a couple months be like, "Fuck this, I'm getting back."
That's what I
on."
said. I said I think
Yeah,
he'll
for sure. He'll find another lane. I just think I'm with Kamar where he'll be like, this was this thing called the Church of What's Happening. I did it with Lee in LA, and now I'm in Jersey. It's a different fucking time.
He's just not the type of guy like, okay, Lee, you're out of here. I'm going to find a new producer. Like he's not.
Yeah, no, I just thought
Not that
Lee
guy.
was leaving. Like, if he wanted to, he would move
Well,
to
Lee-
Jersey with him, like Joe moved to.
Let's keep in mind, too,
or
I have
like
a feeling-
Jamie's moving with Joe.
I have a feeling Joey's the type of guy, too, who knows absolutely zero about how his podcast works.
Yeah,
Like, he probably couldn't set up a mic.
Oh,
like,
no,
if there's an
I
issue,
agree.
it's someone else's. You know what I mean? Like,
it would
he,
be like me trying to run.
no,
a
I bet,
podcast.
no, I bet you could figure out, like, with enough Googling and YouTube, it might take you some hours, but you'd get there. Whereas Joey would just be like, dog, I'm not even going to fucking try this shit.
But that's why I just thought he would have he must know a bunch of comedians who work in. One of them knows how to do fucking shit. And-
Sure. I just think in LA, they're a dime a dozen. You can
yeah,
throw a
so-
rock on the street and have and hit a podcast
and
producer.
hit
you
a
know?
Jamie Vernon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so who's next?
It was Ron Funches. Oh, bunches of Funches.
What
Too
a
soon,
gentleman.
but too soon, right?
No.
Okay.
I found this one inspiring and uplifting, and at the very end, we revealed why Ron Funches is so content.
Why?
Because he's like, you can tell his ex was like, "You're never going to make it big in comedy."
Yeah. She's never been a niece.
I'm not going to raise a autistic child. La, 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 la. He's like, okay, fine. If you want to leave, you can leave. And now he's like, I think she knows she done fucked up.
No, that was the best line of the whole podcast.
Schadenfreude.
I don't think she's ever been a niece.
Yeah, exactly. Because he'd been to Nice. Because I mean, he's just a pleasant guy, and I just like he's not. His ego is,
Seems like someone that deserves every ounce of success that he's found.
and if it make guys feel better, he has only like 47 more Patrons than we do.
That makes me actually feel terrible.
It is too soon, though. I agree with you. I love Ron Funches. Really nice guy. But, it feels like he was just on.
Yes, I'll still say, I'm with Kamar. This was uplifting. It felt like there wasn't like a struggle for things to talk about. Like, it seems like he's really getting himself together. He's,
No, I like him. I like him. But, again,
Okay.
it seems so fresh that he told a couple of the same stories.
What I think it is, though, for Joe, and he's said it over and over again, the thing he misses most about not doing comedy is hanging out with comics. And this is, whether it be selfish or not, he's hanging out with comics, catching up with people he may not see for years. I mean, obviously, everyone who's come through so far, open invitation, come out to Texas, we'll hook you up and stuff. But it was very stand-up oriented. Like, they talked about jealousy and just the industry and stuff. And I can see how that could be sort of snoozy. Obviously, for me, I find it interesting. And the one thing he talked about is how when he writes jokes, he writes about what he loves, what he hates, and he fears. But then when we recited, he said, I look at what I love, what pisses me off, and what I hate. And I find that interesting that fear turns into anger. Like, we get mad at things that he didn't say what I'm afraid of. You know what I mean?
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I think it doesn't even matter what three emotions you put in there. It's a device to help you write. So
Yeah, but I think those three are the three most common that everyone relates to. So when you bring up a premise, and he was very adamant about not having false premises. If you have a false premise, like, okay, whatever, I don't even buy into that premise. But I think that's an excellent thing for writers to look at something from the three sides.
I mean, it seems obvious to me, though, because you write from the same place, whether it's love or hate. They come from the same place.
Love, hate, and fear.
Well, fear is a different one, but you write the same passion comes from love and hate.
And-
like when you hate something, you're equally as passionate as when you love something.
And I just think it would be way easier for me to write about something I'm angry about than something I'm scared about.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm trying to make it funny.
But if you're going off on the negative and you sort of see the crowd, you're losing it, then you flip it and you have the love. I mean, look at Bill Burr. When he does a bit, he does both sides of it. You may not notice it like it's mental jujitsu, but you can't just do one side of a joke. If you really want to be flushed out and funny for everyone in the audience, go, oh, undeniable, yeah, that's so true. Like, would you say like that? And that's one last thing we said that they said in the Joey Diaz episode is everyone wants to know what Bill Burr's take is on this, or any good comedian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, but
The
Bill and Bert are still doing their podcast. You can find out what Bill has to say.
No, I mean the stand up.
I get it, yeah.
Like Joey said, sorry, we're reading back into it, but he's never doing his old jokes again. And I mean, when I did stand up, I did my old jokes, but I realized what he's saying. Like, that's a different time. This is a new time. Like, you should be, if you're really accomplished, you'd be talking about your new experiences in COVID and everything you're going through, the lockdown, the masks, the people. And I just thought Ron Funches was really able to articulate how he writes.
I saw Bert doing his drive-in thing.
Yeah.
They are just fucking like all over the place, man.
They got to do something.
But the place he's today that they were showing on his Instagram story is the craziest drive-in ever, man. It's like tiered levels.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's so
Like-
cool.
like-
Like a
one-
driving range
yeah,
where
like
they
one of
put
those
you on
driving
top of
ranges?
each other and shit? Or is it like more like a stadium where
It's like a stadium, and there's like
Interesting.
9 tiers for cars. It's so
super
cool. But
So are they
it's
on like a lazy Susan
not
turntable, or do you
not
drive in
very steep.
diagonally?
I don't know how that works. You must drive in like this, or
Yeah. There's just plenty of room, I guess.
maybe that's not even so steep that you can like.
Well, no, because
come
look at
down
each
it,
level
you
can
know?
just have enough room where every car can drive in
I'm going to
and
show
park.
you the picture.
It's fine.
It's in
Yeah,
his
yeah.
Instagram
I already
story.
figured it out. It's good.
I know.
Yeah, he's I don't know if he's just desperate to perform or desperate to keep his overhead. Like, does he have a lot of bills to
Yeah,
pay?
I don't know. I don't know. This seemed. I don't know. I don't want to.
Why? I think
everybody should.
we've
work.
heard every comedian come on say they miss every ounce of work, and he's found a way to continue working. So I
Yeah,
don't.
it's pretty brilliant, actually. The guy's like a fucking genius.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he has a decent amount of overhead. Rich people tend to have more
he just bought a
overhead
brand
than
new
we do.
house.
But I'm just saying, I think in general, I don't think any of them are hurting.
No,
you know.
and I think what he's doing, like, really, look at where we are, man. Everybody should be doing whatever the fuck they can, be as creative as he can.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not stand up. It's a new thing they've discovered.
That's fine, but I mean, they're trying to.
Sorry, go ahead,
No,
Manny.
that's it.
I was going to say, look, they're at a drive-in, okay? So this place, they're all in their cars. They're on a stage. They're shooting it out on the TVs. When you go see Joe Rogan and it's 18,000 people, if you're in the back, you're watching the TV. You
I don't
do
think,
not see
I don't think that's
Rogan.
stand up either. Like
Okay,
stadium
fair
stuff,
enough. Fair enough. I agree. But
That's a
it's
level
the
of
same
success.
thing.
Well, hold on.
It's-
I'll at least say this, Simon. When you're in the stadium, although you're in the back, you can still hear the roar of the crowd, the people around you at least laughing. Like in a car, let's say it's just me and Mary. It's kind of like watching it at home on Netflix, whereas I only get her laughter and my laughter. And I find laughter, personally, for me, laughter is almost the most contagious thing in the world. Like I find someone else laughing really hard almost to be the funniest thing in the world.
Well, it is. And it's important to let you know sometimes when it's the right
Yeah.
time to laugh, you know?
But I'm telling you, like, I watch Your Mom's House, and watching Tom Segura watch someone get hurt might be one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Or his mom fart.
But if you're that social distanced,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're car lengths away from each other or 2 car lengths away from each other, whatever it is, why can't they just let everybody like sit? If there's 4 people in the car, you can sit on the trunk of the car.
Because then you have your chain smokers thing with Post Malone.
Well, then everyone's out of the car. Next thing you know, everyone's going to the
It's too
next
much,
car.
it's too
And
much,
yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't
Well,
be-
that was my. Sorry, go ahead. Come on.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if once stand-up clubs return, if they ever do, let's say they do, that this continues on. That Bert continues doing these drive-in shows.
Do you look at it at all like a maybe he shouldn't be doing this? Just bringing other people out together, is that just a bad idea? Period.
I think it's a good idea getting people to do stuff, get out of your house, so that's a good thing. There may be risks, but what's interesting is a club in Ottawa did the exact same thing, but they've stopped doing that. They did it once or twice.
The drive-in?
Yeah, drive-in comedy shows. So, I mean, apparently it was successful, but I don't know why they stopped.
Well, they're running drive-in movies now. I
Yep.
know that. My wife was trying to drag me out to it. I was like trying to get the logistics of it. I'm like, so we're in our car. The windows are rolled up. Do we have the car running? Like, are we running the AC?
Well, you have to have some. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's a lot of cars running AC just sitting
Well,
there.
not the
doing
AC, but
nothing.
you need the radio on at least because that's
Well,
how
no,
you
but
get
isn't
the
it
fucking.
going to be so hot in there?
Or
if
kill
you're
the battery
not
of your car was
running
us.
Put the windows
AC?
down.
And then when you
But then all the bugs come in.
then halfway through the movie, you got to go take a piss and stand in line at a porta potty, and you're gonna go on a porta potty.
I don't know. I would just hold it in.
I mean, it's all interesting, and there's lots of people. I don't respect the Zoom show, but the drive-in show it's a different medium.
So I had a crazy moment of clarity in this podcast, okay? Joe was talking about LA and how terrible it was and how he was leaving. He was like, I come to work and there's all the homeless people and I'm afraid of what's going to happen. And he's afraid there are going to be riots and all of this shit, whatever.
Well, there are riots.
Yeah, I know. And Joe's afraid of it. He doesn't feel good there. And I was thinking to myself, him leaving LA, just kind of like, no, I'm gone, all of a sudden, is the equivalent of him pulling up his hoodie
Yeah.
at the...
Yeah, 100%. I
That's a great
could
analogy.
help. I could stay here and help.
Backwards for the performing arts.
I have the power to help.
I don't know.
I wasn't even looking at it so much
Okay.
that way.
That's how I look at it.
That's interesting too. But just like I see it's getting bad, Joe's good at reading the forest through the trees and hood up.
I'm filthy rich.
Hood
I
up,
don't
I'm
like where my
gone.
tax money's going.
Well,
I
he's
could
mentioned
help,
that-
but
he's
I don't
mentioned
want to
that
help.
many times. The
Sorry,
taxes are going to go up.
the story I was talking about, just for everybody else out there, is the one where Joe is working at the
Backwoods Center for the Performing Arts for Neil Young.
for Neil Young. Thank you. And he sees the people starting to burn shit and fight and riot, and he pulls up his hoodie and never
But
goes
again,
back for his paycheck.
we've always asked this question. Do you think it was really that bad, or was he just like?
I can't think it'd be that bad at a Neil Young
Well,
concert.
is
That's what I'm saying. So
is-
then again, is LA really that bad, or is this just a rich guy in his Tesla driving to work who doesn't like seeing homeless people?
No, I
Well,
think there are riots.
I agree, and I
that's
think it's a
fair
little bit of both.
criticism, but I think just he's been talking about the city's gone to shit.
Listen,
And the way he was talking about Venice and just these places that characteristically are really cool. The one thing I thought was a possibility is we'll be seeing in the next couple of weeks the wildfires will return to LA because it's been a really dry season. And last year his house almost burnt down, so I was thinking that would be another reason why he left. But he didn't sell his house, as we learned. So I was thinking that would helped. Get away from the wildfires, get away from the street fires, get away from all the fires. He needed to catch his head. I understand what you're saying. I don't honestly see what he could see to help out besides donate money. He's not like
hold
a
on.
Sean Penn, pull up his boat in Haiti.
no,
and
but I mean,
take
again,
kids
we
from the
talk about
island.
how he has this huge platform. Maybe instead of complaining about the homeless, maybe get a bunch of advocates on. He talks about how the governor is such a piece of shit and he's useless. Have him on your podcast. Maybe learn about why these issues.
I don't think he needs to help LA. I don't think he has to do that. Let
Listen,
him go live wherever the fuck he wants.
He doesn't have to do anything. I'm just saying, it seems to me, and I can see how other people can see it. It seems to me maybe like a rich guy complaining about the problems of poor people being around him and how he doesn't want to have to deal with them. So he's going to move to a compound in Texas where he doesn't have to see it anymore.
Okay, sure, I see where you're coming from. That's not what I was saying, though. I was saying It was like him just seeing things
Sure.
were getting bad, pulling up his hoodie and leaving.
I
Not
also
waiting for the bread to rise.
I also want to say too.
You got it.
I also want to say too, I don't necessarily agree with the statement I just made. I don't think he's, well, no. Well, I'm just saying, I don't think Joe is some,
Dude, run for politics.
well, no.
Run for politics.
Whatever, fuck.
I want to say I categorically possibly do not agree with what I just said.
Well, no.
That being said, vote for me.
Listen,
Well,
I've seen,
Possibly. I
well,
possibly.
no, I'm
don't
throwing it
believe-
out there. Simon said it, and then I
Covered your
thought
ass.
about
You
it, but
covered your arse.
I don't think Joe is just some callous guy
No.
who doesn't care about the homeless or doesn't care about poor people. That's not it. I'm just saying, at face value, when you hear him talk like that, I can see why people would say that, and I sometimes am like, it comes off as very callous. It seems to me like a guy who just signed a huge fucking deal, being like, I don't want to see homeless people. But I genuinely don't think he thinks that way.
I get that, but it's sort of like how you shit on Vanier and you just become desensitized to where you live and just like, whoa.
No,
re-
Vanier
Just avoid
sucks.
the-
I really believe with Joe, it's more like a fear thing, and he also sees that the people running the show are not going to help the situation.
And maybe he wants to get his daughter away from her group of friends that are all changing gender.
So he's moving to
Jesus,
Texas.
wow, that's real deep.
Or not.
So that woman who does the Trump impersonations is getting a Netflix.
So that is the worst. That was going to be in the post show, but like,
I'm
it's,
sorry.
It's,
They
no,
talked
no,
about
of
it
course,
as-
of course it did. They talked about as I was doing my post show. Almost everything got eliminated from this week's episode. We'll see what we have to do. But yeah, she's just lip syncing Trump, and now she's got a Netflix special.
Sorry, Matt, you like her?
I don't even know who the fuck she is. No, you thought I was about to defend this
I
person?
thought you were going to
No.
defend her, yeah.
I don't know who she
Now,
is.
the article I said it's going to be skits, so it's not going to be stand up per se.
Oh, it's not just her reading.
Well, I
it?
don't even know which the fuck she would do. Like just lip sync Trump on stage and people laugh. Like it's
But let me say this: we already she's a writer. She wrote a book, so she obviously has some talent in writing. But hold on, hear me
what
out.
book
look
did
her up
she
before
write?
you say she has some talent.
Well, they said that they were like, Jamie, pull her up, and Jamie was like, she's written a book. All I was going to say is this, Kamar: you can't shit on someone for getting a deal until you see the product.
No, I understand. Sure, I understand. She's got enough followers. It works for Netflix. You got those followers. We're going to give you a special. We get all those followers. That makes sense to me. But like, it's just not it's not stand up comedy. She hasn't been doing it for 14 years, 10 years. Like this lip sync is just. I think it's going to be very bad. Let's see. I don't think she's talented, but I found out about a bunch of comedians who are like tweeting like, what the fuck? And I could name 20 comedians that deserve a Netflix special before she does.
Yeah, but we don't know that she's getting a Netflix special. She might be getting a Netflix
I
show.
think she's getting
Oh,
a show,
whatever it
yeah.
is. But she said, her tweet was, yes, I'm getting a Netflix special. Thanks for all your help.
Maybe it is a special. We'll just have to see what happens.
It's
But I'm-
gross. It's
but I'm-
gross.
okay, well, fair enough.
And we'll only see it till it comes. Eh? I could be wrong and she could be amazing. Doubt it.
Joe again supports, like he will not just let this one fucking go. Maisel, man.
No, he admitted that last season he
yeah,
loses
he was
it.
like, season 3 lost me.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying.
But season 1 and 2 should have lost him. And here's the thing. He's like, I like watching the comedy, them talk about comedy.
Hold on, but Simon,
And then
it's-
that other show that all his friends are on, they also talk about comedy a lot more than that would hit home
I
with him.
think, though, he's saying, I find it believable for that period in time what the come up would be like.
Simon, let me just put it this way. If you were like I don't know, if you were a crab fisherman and ABC came out with a crab fisherman drama and you watched it and you didn't love it, but it was specifically about what you did and there was no other show like it.
I'm a crab fisherman in
Yes,
this.
that's what I'm saying. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where like the show might not be great.
I want to be a lumberjack.
Fine. So it's a lumberjack. It's a dramatic lumberjack show, and there are no other dramatic lumberjack shows on television. So you
Yeah.
might not love it, but it's so up your wheelhouse that you kind of get like.
But then-
How many bad
but
shows
then
are you
there's
caught up in?
A million. But
That's-
then, but then there's that other show that's almost exactly about the store that all his friends are in that he wants nothing to do with, never talks about. Here, hold on. I'm pressing a button here. I'm pressing a button.
Sure.
And
You're probably right.
Tinfoil hats are lowering.
Well, no, you could also say
new.
maybe it's because it's a period piece. So it's about the
The
like you
other
said.
one's a period piece too.
No, but this is about the
Too
beginning.
close to home. Too close to home.
Lower the hats. Joe is a silent producer of Maisel.
No.
That's such a conspiracy.
That's what a fucking. What else we got for Ron?
That's it.
Oh, I got a bunch of stuff. When they were talking about having a manager,
Yeah.
how amazing is that if you have someone who cares so much about your talent that they want to work with you? If they can make a living off you, they'll contribute.
Did they say that was James Franco's wife?
I don't think James Franco.
No,
married.
it was someone's wife or something. But I mean, when they were talking about the Sarah Cooper and they were saying Bobby Lee should get a Netflix special before she does, I don't think Bobby Lee can get a Netflix special or any special because I think he'd get Me Too'd because he's done such creepy stuff in the past because he's such a freak. I thought that was funny. From this episode, I gleaned that the ultimate measure of a man in a lifetime is to be, if you can be a good father. That's the toughest thing you can do as a man in your lifetime, and raise a cool kid or a good person, for that matter. I think that's fair. And
But I think that's unfair because I think there's a lot of good people that are good fathers that just happen to raise really pieces of shit. Would you agree with that?
yeah, but it was more bleeding over to how proud last week Rob Lowe was of being a dad and like putting on the side to get to the game.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but striving to be a good dad is the ultimate thing a man can do in his lifetime. Just withdrawing from that brain, scientists said all we are here to do is born, reproduce, and die, like in layman's terms. And just the way you talked about having an autistic son and caring and
Being
stuff.
a shitty dad is like the worst thing you can
Exactly.
do,
So-
though.
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
know if you have to be like a Rob Lowe type of dad over the top. And obviously Ron Funches has had to like be super dad because his son is autistic and he was on his own. But like being a deadbeat dad, that's the...
But I was just going to say, I feel like you can be a decent dad and put in even minimal effort.
Yeah,
No,
just normal
you have to be
effort.
present.
Normal effort.
Present, but that's what I'm saying. Just being present.
Normal effort.
That's what I'm saying is just being present, Kamar. You can raise a decent kid. Like you don't have to be super dad. You don't have to build a fucking tree house. You know what I mean?
No.
But that's what I'm saying is you can put in very minimal effort.
And I agree with you that you can be a good dad instead of a bad person or a bad kid or whatever. Like there's no guarantees, but if you're going to be a father, that should be your ultimate responsibility is to be a good dad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then
That's why I ain't having one.
I feel like Cleveland Brown was stolen from Ron Funches. I think someone met Ron Funches and then came up with the character. It's sort of like-
Cleveland from...
From,
Family Guy.
Interesting.
I don't know about that.
and if you
Interesting.
and they're saying if you can play the piano, you own the world, which is so true. You know, if you're at a place and you can sit down at a piano and just start playing tunes
Yeah,
and stuff,
totally agree.
you're the palm of everyone's hand.
You know that place in Montreal, the big Lookout, where they have the piano outside there. Whenever I see someone like just fucking, I'm always
You're enamored.
Where,
Yeah.
at Mount Royal?
Yeah, at Mount Royal, they have a piano outside that just sits in that
Like at Tam Tams there?
No, Tam Tam is no. I'm talking about way up the Lookout
Way,
in
way
Montreal,
up.
way
Gotcha,
up there.
gotcha.
There's a piano outside.
Back to Funches for a second. Can you...
This is all Funches.
This is all Funches.
Yeah, I know, but back to Cleveland. Can you look up is that Family Guy?
Family Guy is almost like 20 years old.
Yeah, I think.
So Ron Funches stole his act from Cleveland.
Oh, whoa! I just exposed
Ron
something.
Funches stole his
Oh, the hat's still on.
personality.
The hat's still on.
That's who he is. It's not his act.
Maybe chicken or the egg.
Stole the voice.
I'll
Maybe his voice really like this, Matt, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I like that a lot.
I can listen to Ron
He's not the
Funches talk
rapist.
I don't know,
forever.
Come on down here."
Where's the paper boy?
If you can play the piano, you can own the world. The comedian needs to suggest Sam J. She is hilarious.
Okay.
Look it up. And she's almost like
You look it
a
up.
black lesbian Carlin or Bill Hicks. Like just talk about the way things are, but has a leeway. It's so funny.
That sounded
Dude, I've
so wrong, eh?
I've been watching a lot of Carlin lately.
Preachy though, sort of preachy, not just silly dick jokes.
Top 10.
Oh, he's only top 10, not the top.
I don't know if I'd put him in top 5. Well, probably maybe top 5, but definitely, without a doubt, hands down, top 10, dead or
And
alive.
I think that black women might be the funniest. Like Miss Pat, Tiffany Haddish. I mean, she blew up, but if she had not become a movie star, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't like
they're really funny.
But I love Miss Pat.
And then Joe's shout out to Kimmy Schmidt falls short without giving credit to Jane Karowski and Titus Burgess.
Sorry, repeat.
he always bigs up Kimmy Schmidt and Tina Fey, but Jane Krosowski, the blonde in that,
Jane Krasowski, yeah.
Krasowski, thank you. She's amazing, and Titus Burgess is amazing, and he never gives him a mention.
He talks about Tina Fey. He doesn't even give Kimmy that much credit. He never mentions her name.
He did in
doesn't
this
even
one.
know
No,
her
Ron
name.
Funches. Ron
Ron
Funches
Funches did
actually
more,
was the
yeah,
one who
actually.
was like, she's incredible.
Yeah, no, Joe doesn't know her name 100%. I don't even think Joe watches The Office.
I would have to agree with that.
I think so.
But he did watch Kimmy Schmidt, and Titus Burgess is fucking hilarious in that show.
That show is so funny.
I think so.
It's a lot of seasons. It's a lot of seasons.
Yeah.
8 or 9 seasons. It's too many seasons. But the first couple, hilarious.
It's too many seasons.
And then I think the real gem of this podcast was when Joe asked him, like, what made you the change? And he said he changed from a survive to a thrive mindset. So it's just a perspective thing. Like, you can decide you're a victim or you can decide you're the hero and then act accordingly based on that. But that change starts with you inside. And he also remarked that successful people don't think things are not possible. Like, when you tell an idea to a successful person, like, good, or unsuccessful person, like, well, that'll never work for you. You know what I mean? And so it's not all, but a lot of getting what you want, being successful is about your mindset and perspective. And I just thought this was really super inspiring podcast. Was not looking forward to it either.
Way to go, man.
Yeah, buddy.
You know what? I think from now on, maybe when the comedian is on, you should take the notes for that episode.
Well, yeah, because I feel, I don't
'Cause
feel you.
I
but
don't give a fuck
You
about
check-
hearing the same things
you
over
check
and
out,
over.
yeah, you check
I'll
out.
take care of everything else. The
check out.
scientists, the shit that matters. You can deal with Ron
and,
Funches.
well, I think I'll be having a heavy workload for the next couple of weeks.
Bunches the Funches. Okay, let's
and don't
rate
get
it.
me wrong, I really like Ron Funches. I think he's a really stand-up guy. No pun intended. Or pun intended, rather. And
Oh, he seems like a fucking 10 out of 10 human being.
really, really great guy, yeah.
No, right away when you guys said it's too soon,
He won't
I
get
realized-
Me-too'd.
I only meant that as in like, I just, there's only a few comedians I would want on more than once a year. That's all. That's it.
Who is his wife? Anybody have any idea?
No, I looked it up. He doesn't want anyone to know. Like, it's not even on Wikipedia. But she's from a small town in Canada.
White.
Doesn't know how hot she is.
White? Is that what you said?
I didn't say anything. I
don't know why he did it
I
that
didn't
way.
say
I know.
anything.
That's so subtle.
Super weird. Do you want to
Let's
rate
take a
it?
break.
Do you want to rate it there, fucking Hitler?
Yeah, I'll give it. No, I can't. That doesn't work. man.
Okay.
I will rate this one a 3.5.
I give it a 4.
Yeah, sure. 3.5. That's good with me. That's good with me. We have an agreement again. It's
No,
odd.
he said a 4.
Yeah,
I
he
said a
4.
3.5.
Well, me and you had an agreement then. I looked at your eyes when I said we have an
Semi-agreement.
agreement.
It's a sub-agreement.
Yeah, whatever.
Sub agreement. I like that.
2/3 agreement. Okay, we're going to take a break. There's no way anything that we're going to say in the next minute and a half is going to pay any bills, but we'll call it that, and then
We can
we'll
just
be
call
back.
it a cigarette break.
Sure, whatever. Goodbye. All right, so Kamala Harris never locked up any parents, but
Fact checks.
fuck that hoe.
We know Tim doesn't like that.
Ooh. That's spicy talk. All right, so what do we got here? Sorry, my notes are all backwards. Let me just get organized here.
Well, first name and a number, please.
Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
And I have to find my first page, and then I'll have the number. Give me 1 second here. As you can see,
I'm going to say 1525.
I'm wearing my polo shirt because Tim wears a polo shirt. And I'm super surprised you guys' first comment is it's too soon. Because he was on since Ron Funches.
yeah, the Great White Hope has returned.
Oh, so it's a race thing for you.
It's very interesting.
That was not meant as a racial thing. I just
Just mentioned the color.
I just happened to only mention the color of his skin.
he wrote on his Instagram, "The Great White Hope has returned,"
you
or
quoted
something
him.
to that, and I was quoting what I paraphrased.
But he's been on recently as well.
Yes, but he is a much more topical type of guy.
Oh, yeah.
His whole podcast is based around what's happening now. He's up to date with all the most interesting conspiracies.
No, I'm with Kamar, actually. I'm with Kamar. It's too soon.
I agree with you 100%. I just am surprised that you guys.
There
Oh, so you also should be in politics then, fuckhead.
No,
there
no,
are
no,
certain-
no.
No. Oh,
I didn't think Ron Funches was too soon, and I didn't. I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was too soon. I'm just surprised you guys didn't feel it was too soon because he's
no,
been on.
I just said you're right.
So just to backtrack on something we said on the last part of this show. So no, like you wouldn't get Dylan. You know what I mean? I would still need to take care of Dylan.
Oh, you
We
knew.
really, I'll just have to like.
I'll get the Tom
I'm gonna
Papas.
audible it for you on the fly.
One more
Yeah,
thing. I'll say
yeah.
for the post. I'll say for the
That's
post.
exactly. I'll call an audible, and you get a papa.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
Any way I can contribute.
Great. So Tim and Schultz, those two guys to me are like, that's where comedy is heading.
The zeitgeist.
Guys who are just tapped into what's going on, hilarious. Because it's not enough to just be topical. You really got to be funny, you know?
And,
Yes, as a comedian, funny tends to be the number one thing.
And sort of.
You would think so, Matt. And yet some of these comedians out there are just not.
But you have to be
funny.
informed as well.
You have to be informed. Well, you got to stay kind of up to date. I mean, is Schultz really informed? Like
He's on everything. If you listen to his podcast, they talk
he
about
is.
everything.
I heard him on the Breakfast Club, not the Breakfast Club, on
Brilliant Idiots.
the other day, and he said he was like about to badmouth Kamala Harris, and then he did exactly what I did. He said, "What do you think?" Whatever his name was,
Charlemagne.
the God. And
You're not big on black people today, are you?
That
No.
seemed dismissive.
I said,
the other guy.
dude,
What's
It's
going
his
on
show.
here?
I said the God.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, I thought you said the guy.
No, the God. I like Charlemagne. He's like, he believes in Bigfoot. He's right up my alley, man.
Okay.
But then Charlemagne said the opposite of what I thought he did. He like loved Kamala Harris, which was weird.
Well, they had her on the Breakfast Club, and she was really.
And then Schultz wanted to say, like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's terrible, kind of like I did. And then had to say, well, you know, I don't really know anything about her policies except for this one thing. Anyway,
Truancy.
so I'm just wondering how really knowledgeable Schultz is. Tim Dillon is for sure. He's like a brilliant dude. I think he's really, really smart.
Well, he's a big conspiracy guy.
Tim Dillon? Mm-hmm. Correct, but I also think he's like knows a lot. He used to be a
Mortgage broker.
so he just knows a lot about like how the housing market works. He's a smart dude. He's really good friends with Whitney.
Whitney Cummings, yeah.
And whatever you think about Whitney, whatever your opinion is, fine. But she is a pretty smart lady.
She's
and
very
I
successful
think
as
you
well.
would, yeah, but forget that. I just think you would have to be pretty quick to be able to actually be friends with her because she's just.
I think you also
I
want to
think
be
she
friends
knows a
with
lot about
really
a lot.
successful people when you're in Hollywood.
You're saying that he's like friends with her because he wants to get.
Maybe he's a
ahead?
star fucker. I don't know.
Weird.
I know he's not trying to fuck her.
But why? Okay. All right. Sure. Come on.
I mean, she got all the big break for Crystalia.
Yeah. Okay.
Opportunities knock. He did say, Tim Dillon said, Whitney, we've got to save her. She's dyed her hair pink. Felt like he sort of threw it on the bus there. Of course, he said he was joking.
I just liked when he started talking about Trump because it really echoed what I've been saying forever.
He finds it hard to believe.
Yeah,
Can't
well,
put all together the QAnon and all that.
Is that what he was? What is that? What you're talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's precisely
The-
it.
the
The
QAnon?
QAnon stuff, yeah.
What's your problem with the QAnon stuff?
Well, all we're clinging to, sorry.
My problem is that their whole thing is that Donald Trump is the great white pedophile hope, that he's really out there. This guy is the one fighting this cabal of pedophiles. And the way you're looking at me makes me believe that you think he is too somehow.
I don't listen to QAnon, or sorry, I don't follow Q.
You just have a small, short acronym for them. Q.
I obviously
don't follow Q.
Well, I obviously know who they are, or
You obviously have a tattoo.
or he is, or she is, or whatever. But do they say that about Trump. I thought they always were just like saying what's going to happen next.
Oh no, Trump's a great
It's
white hope. for
they
Q.
mention
Yes.
Trump all the time.
Oh, of course, the
Okay.
storm is coming.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, right. That's right. Sorry. That's stupid because they always talk about draining the swamp. But everything's super cryptid, right? Cryptic.
Yeah, anyone can extract anything. And my only qualm with Q is it's coming. It's been like for 2 years. And then, when Ghislaine Maxwell gets arrested, they'll be like, and here it is, the next move.
But I mean, look, for a long time, here, I'm going to play devil's advocate for Q here.
Yeah, love it.
For a long
that'll be fun.
For a long time, everybody was like, there is not a sex ring in Hollywood. That's not a thing. Like that's crazy. You were a crazy fucking conspiracy theorist to the worst degree if that was something you believe.
That's what D'Elia said.
Now it's just common knowledge. So
Hold on, it's not common knowledge. So you believe that all of Hollywood is involved in a sex ring?
No, I didn't say all of Hollywood was in a sex ring. There is a sex ring that goes through Hollywood as well as through Washington, obviously.
But do you agree with what they said in this podcast?
Washington as in the government of
Yes,
some
I
sort.
realize what you're saying.
Deep state. Do you agree on what they said in this podcast about Tom Hanks is just a meme?
I'm really not
You know
sure
what I mean?
about Tom Hanks at all. And I find, look, I joke about Tom Hanks every now and again.
That's what Kamar's asking, though, is
I'm
are you joking?
I'm certainly not out there like trying to ruin Tom Hanks's career. Trying
Well,
to
we don't have the power to either way.
dox him in any way. I'm not saying stop watch Tom Hanks movies. I don't know what the fuck. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be shocked the same way I wouldn't be shocked if like you told me Ellen was somehow hooked up weirdly in this. I would be like, that's super gross, but not shocked. That to say, I don't. What was your question?
It was
You were the one
You
defending
said-
QAnon.
Oh,
there was
Q-
no question asked.
defending
You
Q,
just
right.
decided to take a stand.
Well, no, because
next Q.
is it so far fetched? Is what I'm saying. Like they were right on
Anything
that one.
far fetched. It's just I guess he had his comments disabled, but before, if you went on there, there'd be 20,000 comments like "you pizza fucker" or whatever.
Well, that's
Let me ask
the
you this, though.
problem
Hold on.
for a lot of people is the Pizzagate.
I have a problem with this, though. I have a question for you. So your contention is that there's a sex ring that runs through Hollywood and Washington. Now, let me ask you this. So if there is a sex ring that just exists, okay, I'll grant you that one. Now, if I'm an actor and I go to this sex ring, I don't know how I get hooked up with them. I don't know where I get this phone number. Maybe I find it in a
Do you
stall.
want me to lead you through how something like this works?
You won't even let me finish.
Sorry,
so
go ahead,
you're
go
just
ahead.
I just have to interrupt. I think it's rings.
fine. Rings.
Multiple rings. Yeah.
So the question is this: so if I'm an actor and I get involved with this sex ring, does that now mean that Hollywood is involved in this sex ring?
Well, you're
That's-
beholden to your sex ring, yeah.
Okay, I don't think like you're saying like Hollywood.
Well,
like
no, because
it's,
like if my question,
organism.
well, no, but my question to you is like, so if a guy who owns a car dealership goes and is involved in this sex ring, are we now saying like the car dealership industry
I see
is
what you're
involved
saying.
in a sex ring? I'm just curious because then your next step was, well, I wouldn't be surprised if Ellen or Mr. Rogers or Bill Nye the Science Guy. No, but where does it end is my question to you, because you've now implied that anyone in Hollywood could potentially be involved. So no one would surprise you at this point. There's no one in Hollywood that if it came out that they
there
were.
are definitely people who I would be shocked.
If there is,
But you just said though, you were like, if the other shoe dropped, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised about anyone.
Well, I said about Ellen. Did I say anyone?
Yeah, you did, and then you said it could be Ellen.
if they were smuggling the kids in cars, then yes, the automotive industry is involved in sex rings. as
Fine,
well.
fair enough.
No, but I mean, look, it's like
But no, but that's my question. Is like we're so quick to be like it's. I'm not saying there aren't people in Hollywood that are probably pedophiles or involved in some foul fucking shit. We already know that politicians are definitely wrapped up in a ton of foul shit. None of that surprises me. Powerful people are into some fucking weird shit. I also think that poor people are into some weird shit. They just have no power or money to pull it off. So it's kind of a weird.
let's just take Epstein for a second,
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
Epstein has this island where he's targeting mostly scientists.
Yeah,
And
I get it because you think it's a big Mossad fucking CIA ring, but
Well, no, but at that point, like, what are you saying? Is there a pedophile ring that's running through the science community? Or is this just, it's a pedophile ring on Epstein Island, and to hell with the fact that there's a huge demographic of a certain type of people who are getting caught there, you know?
But even then, so let's say this, like you just did a perfect example of, so let's say Epstein brings 100 scientists in 10 years to that island, and 10 of those scientists get involved in some fucking foul shit. You're now just going to throw the other fucking 90 out with the bathwater because they were there.
What if all 90 are into foul shit?
But even then, you're still throwing 10%. Like, let's say, because we know that fucking Pinker was there, right?
We do.
So that's what I'm saying is like, so let's say someone like Steven Pinker was there and didn't do anything, but we now know he's there, and right away, that's a huge red flag for all of us, as it should be.
I don't know if Pinker was on the island. He
What we
took a
don't
flight
understand-
with them.
Okay, but you know what I mean? But you, okay.
All these people should be interviewed.
No,
Anyone on that list. And they
But
can
we
say
don't know
no.
that they haven't been.
sorry, can we just
Well,
go?
no, a public interview, just like the Prince Andrew. Like, why'd you go to Epstein Island? What happened? Why were you on his plane? James Franco, Michelle Wolf, whoever.
The plane is one thing, though.
I don't want to
Kay.
pick sides or left or right. Just any of these people. What was your involvement? That's what I don't understand.
The plane is one thing. The plane, if we want to sit here and like try and explain away why people were on the plane,
The plane's a tough one. Anyone wants to take a private plane.
I'll be okay with that. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But yeah, look, I know Hollywood. You're going that way. Can I jump on this flight? Oh, you might not even know Epstein, but I know this guy Epstein. He's heading over here. Just jump on his plane so you can get to the Hamptons so we can
He
have our
might not
party.
even be on the plane.
Sure, you could even get on with someone else and be like, man, there's a lot of young girls on this fucking flight. What the
Fine.
fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that person should say something.
Sure.
They should come forward and say, I went on there and it was weird.
Whatever, fine. I could see that. But if you go to the island, like I got in an argument this weekend at the cottage with somebody. If you go to the island, why are you going to the island if it's not to partake in the things that are going on in the island? You don't go to Disneyland and not ride the rides.
well, hold on. Let me just say this.
Huh?
Well, no. Hold on.
Great analogy, Simon.
Thank you,
Okay,
Kamar.
well, I'll shit all over your analogy real quick, though. Let's say you
you'll
have
try.
let's say you have a business meeting with all the executives at Disney, and they're showing you around the park, and you have you're in a suit. You're not going to ride Space Mountain in a suit, and that's what I'm getting at. Is like this guy was fucking involved in all sorts of wild shit with a ton of rich people. Hold on, I guarantee you, gross shit happened to that island for sure. We have examples of workers that were there. Now you can sit there and say, well, why were they there? Again, they were doing work. And to your point, some of them did come forward and we're like, there's some weird shit going
I
on
am
here.
not at all implying that every worker on that island was in on this.
I get it.
thing.
I know you're not, but what I'm saying too is then you also can't just throw out anyone who went and met with the guy because
If
at the
you-
time, it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein was Jeffrey Epstein, right? Like if you had gone at the time, Simon, you didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was at the time.
I wouldn't. Right. I hear you.
Yeah,
I
he's
hear,
not as notorious as he is today.
I hear
That's
all
all I'm
of
saying.
that. I just going to that island is not like going to Disneyland. Disneyland's much closer and easier to get to.
Probably a
This
lot more fun
island
for kids,
is
too.
Certainly more fun for children. This island is out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Holy shit. Pun intended.
But it's not
buttfuck
though. There's other
nowhere.
islands around it. Like
It's just out in the mid. It's
I get it.
To go to an island, like these people are going out there. You don't go there for a business meeting. You don't go there for a lunch. You do those things much closer to home.
But hold on. See, this is what I'm saying is like we aren't uber rich. The uber rich go to private islands
yeah,
for business
to
meetings.
fuck kids.
See, again, this is my problem though, is like you're not doing anyone any favors. You sound like a crazy QAnon person. Everyone who's rich and goes to an island is
Oh, no,
fucking
this all
idiot.
Diablo Avocado. He's still on Diablo Avocado.
Oh, okay. Is
Thank
he?
you, Kamar.
Yeah.
If you went to Epstein Island,
Yeah. No, but you just said if you're rich and you go to any private island for a business meeting, you're there to rape kids.
no, we're talking about Epstein Island. We're talking
But
about
again,
a very
Simon,
specific island.
you're missing the point. 10 years ago, if you were Steven Pinker and you didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was, why is it Kid Fuck Island then? Why are you going to Kid Fuck Island?
Why doesn't Pinker just have the meeting in the city he's
Stop.
at?
Because
didn't have Zoom.
first of all, he's a pasty scientist, okay? So just hear me out. You don't get to go all out of nice places. You're hunkered down in a fucking lab all the time. Some billionaire says, hey, would you like to come for a weekend to my private oasis? It's an island. Bring your wife, bring your kid. You end up being like, hey, listen, I this is kind of weird, but I'll run it by my wife. Imagine that. We find out that Steven Pinker went with his wife.
I can totally see that happening, minus the wife and the kids. Okay, just come to
but
my.
why? Maybe Epstein like, bring your kids, please.
Come to my island. Come for a good time for the weekend. Then they get there and they fucking honey trap them. Like this is
Fine, that's
I don't
fine.
care how they get them there.
Okay, fine. But my point is like, Simon,
Jesus.
a month from now, I'm taking you up to a private island. Are we going to fuck kids when we're up there? You know what I
Well,
mean?
now
Like,
I'm definitely not going.
you weren't coming anyway, trust me.
There's another dimension where the fire festival is held on Epstein Island. That's what I was thinking this whole time.
Ja
We
Rule.
got all
was-
these,
Ja-
we got all these young girls coming
Yeah.
over. Yeah, of course, let's
Yeah.
have a party.
And then they
All
just
I-
throw them through the portal
Hold
for
on.
Epstein.
Keep in mind, we got off track. My whole point was like, you did the whole there's a ring of pedophilia that runs through Hollywood and I just think we have this weird word battle all the time where we say things that we're not really like. I don't think any one of us three thinks that everyone in Hollywood is a pedophile.
By
Wouldn't that be
saying
an
there's a
absurd?
ring that runs through Hollywood is not implying that all of Hollywood is
But-
part of that ring.
but my point to
it
you,
just
Simon,
means
is-
that ring runs through
But stop. Okay, but that's like,
all of these actors.
okay, but then guess what?
associations.
There's a prostitution ring that runs through every place in the world. But you see what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm
Well, that's only a problem if the prostitutes are underage and then it's human trafficking.
Listen, but I'm saying I don't have a problem with prostitution.
Me
I'm
neither.
also not involved in prostitution.
But you
Do
do
see-
have a problem with human trafficking, whether it's kids or
You didn't hear me though.
adults.
You didn't let me finish. What I said was I have no problem with prostitution. I'm not actively involved with it. I don't prostitute myself out, nor do I purchase prostitutes. You see what I'm saying? So like, it doesn't just because I'm.
Are you playing Diablo Avocado here?
Why would I have to?
Just joking.
Either way, I'm just saying. I think it's a weird fucking
Because you do
statement
pride
to.
prostitutes. Just showing you the whole joke there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, move on.
You're the one with the notes.
No. I do see your point, Matt, but I don't think that changes the fact that these things exist. Like you want to
Sure, I'm not saying-
semantics of the word.
But no, but what I'm saying is I'm saying it exists, but then being your wording makes it definitely seem, and you're sitting there saying, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. To say there's a pedophile ring that runs through Hollywood, it sounds pretty fucking.
I know, but where I still don't see where you're getting lost. I agreed with what you said. That statement is still true.
I think we're
Run
down to
okay
semantics
again.
now.
Well, it's not, but it's not bogged down in semantics. Runs through, Simon, implies that it's touched that everyone in Hollywood again runs through. Think about that statement. If you have AIDS running through your body,
Okay, intersex
It's
Hollywood.
semantics.
but that's
is
my
that
in a
point.
better?
nutshell.
But that was my point to begin with. Is it obviously this pedophile ring intersects every single industry in the world? We've realized that now, have we not?
Yeah, the media for sure.
It's just they focus on actors.
No, see, that's
Epstein focused
See,
on.
you're talking about something
scientists.
different. Then you're not talking about a pedophile ring. You're talking about a honeypot CIA operation, which is really what you're getting at. You're not talking about pedophiles.
I think they're all one and the same.
Okay, they can still be pedophiles if they're caught in a
Sure, but my point to you
honey
is
trap.
you're talking about something much bigger. You're not actually talking. Your concern isn't so much. Not sure if it's for the kids as it is
Well,
for
the
this
trap
weird
is way
honey
more
trap.
damning if it's
Well,
children.
it's
than if
always
just
for the
prostitutes.
kids, but
But see, even the way you said that is a bit odd.
well, no. Okay, you seem to have a problem with like, yes, of course.
Well,
it's
my
for
problem
the
is that kids are getting fucked. That's
In-
my problem.
in the process of us taking down these people.
Yeah.
They're gonna fall.
But here, just back up again. So when I said earlier, car dealerships, right? My point was more that if there is a pedophile ring, a honeypot pedophile ring, there's no point in them going after owners of car dealerships because by and large, they're not very powerful people.
Okay, sorry.
But wait, just let me finish the thought. You want to go after people in politics. You want to go after people in Hollywood. You want to go after people in the media, right? Because they're the most powerful. They
Yes.
wield the most power.
Correct.
So that's my point is to say, I think it's an obvious statement to say that there's a pedophile ring running through because you want powerful people to be involved in it, right?
Let's pretend. Let's
Okay.
pretend for a second.
Sure.
Okay. Just again, playing devil's advocate on this whole QAnon thing. Maybe,
Kind of, but not really.
maybe when they're talking about who is like the bad guy here. What if there's a group, okay, and they're honeypotting people, actors, sports stars, celebrities,
Okay.
in order to them use their voices,
Influence.
their influence. Exactly. It's not about catching them. They need to catch them with the kid in order to have something over them.
They need them compromised.
That doesn't have to be the CIA. Okay, we're assuming that it's the CIA.
No, you're
or
assuming
Mossad
it's the CIA.
or
Okay,
somebody
sure.
running a guy like Epstein.
Okay.
But there could be a totally different kind of dark group. I don't know who they are. Let's call them, I don't know, like the Illuminati or something, okay? And they're the people who are actively out there. Like Epstein is just a
I find it so weird.
byproduct of this, you know? It's so much bigger than him. Again,
Why
I'm
isn't it
playing
just,
devil's
but I
advocate
get it, but why,
here.
but you're not, because
Yes,
you truly
no,
believe most of
no,
this. So
I am definitely
what I'm
playing
asking you
devil's
is,
advocate here.
why can't it just be as weird as and gross as it's going to sound? Why isn't it just occasionally even a supply and demand thing? Like people want to fuck kids, so there has to unfortunately be a kid fucker supplier, right?
Yeah, there is.
I know.
Jimmy Seville. Oh, there's many.
Well, that was going to be
There's
my
just not
next.
one.
Look
That's
at,
what I'm saying
Look at
is-
Seville and how it was just like
Covered up.
intertwined.
Penn
I know
State.
you don't like whatever the word I used last time, but definitely through the whole whatever their equivalent of Hollywood is, you know, in Britain. It encompassed a lot of really famous kind of.
But to say it encompassed, like we do this often where we find out something 40 years later, and then it's like the William Randolph Hearst thing. Like, where does the truth really lie?
But did you read that? I mean, it doesn't really. Did you read it?
I know,
did,
but
yeah.
but
It doesn't
Kumar,
really
No,
categorically
I get it.
separate them. But
It
it just
doesn't.
says Jack Hare wrote it and he was a stoner.
Sorry,
and made
sorry.
up.
Let's.
but the same way that Jack Hare also laid it out, and it could also be, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't think we can reach
I think
anywhere with this discussion.
Yeah, we have to.
No,
move
you're
off
right.
This. We have to move off it. We've
I also think the truth lies somewhere
we've
between the
hijacked
lines.
Tim
Often,
Dillon.
It has to. I just want to say my prediction is you guys know what time served is?
yeah.
So Ghislaine Maxwell will be in jail for a year. That's basically 3 years. I think she's going to get 3 years in jail and then get out.
Why? She's being charged federally.
And I think they're going to give her 3 years and they're going to say time served.
And I
on your
told you
way.
the stupid crime.
And it's going to
she's
be very
actually being
disappointing.
charged
It's going to be
with,
very
like,
disappointing. That's my prediction.
It was.
Well,
it
no,
was-
but let's talk about the real one then, because this is actually what they talked about. And I said this too. I think if Derek Chauvin gets off, they'll burn the whole country to the fucking ground.
Well, Ben Shapiro's pretty sure he's going to get off.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get
And
off.
I think it's they like charged him with the wrong crime.
You know who also argued that point? I mean, Sam Harris. He said it in his thing there. Like, of course he's guilty. He's guilty of a billion things. But if you try and charge him with the wrong crime, it's going to miss because the way
Yeah, but-
that the
Letter of
Sure,
the law.
but here's my problem: is like
The
when they
legal
get
system
when
is set
when
up.
they get some poor black kid for fucking trafficking drugs, they charge him with 65 different counts. So why can't we do the same thing to this cop? Make something stick.
Well,
do what they do to
because
other
of
people.
the full release body cam, I think is a problem.
well, and don't you need him to like? You want him to go away for
something
for life.
you'd like him to go. Well,
Well,
listen,
the
if he
hardest
does
part is
20
proving the
years,
knee
then
killed
fine.
him. You know what I mean? I mean, I think
it's going to come down to some ridiculous semantic like that. It's
Listen,
and that's why what Tim Dillon said is like, get him Epstein's fucking roommate. That's the only way you're going to make sure that that LA
Justice.
doesn't get burned to the ground or wherever this
Minneapolis.
somewhere, the States, everywhere, you know, fucking take this guy out and make sure that camera is not working. Huh?
It's
Yeah,
going to be
it's-
very interesting, and the country better be in a better state when that goes wrong.
Oh, I'm just thinking about Rodney King and like, he didn't even die. You know what I mean? Like, and those cops got off. They burnt that
Oh,
fucking
we're
city to
so
the ground.
far past Rodney King.
I
at
get it,
this
but that's what
point,
I'm
though.
saying is like think about it. If this trial goes down next summer, midsummer, the country, the U.S. is fucked.
Well, it depends on who wins the
We might
president.
not even get there. Fuck.
I mean, if Trump's president, yeah, I think it's going to be really bad. But if Biden comes in and saves the day and Kamala Harris fix everything, maybe they'll be in the right
Oh,
place
come
to
on,
accept
those
it.
two are fucking trash.
Well, the elections now and this mail-in and the
Mike Baker.
It is so suspect. But I think what? Okay, fine, Mike Baker. I said it before, Mike Baker. Anyways, it's so suspect on both sides. There is going to be pandemonium no matter what the fuck
speculation
happens.
police are going to be out in full force. What I don't understand is why you can't have voting up until the day, pre-voting instead, so you don't have a rush at the polling booths. Like if something happened 2 weeks after you vote, like, oh, I changed my mind. I wish I didn't vote that way. And also, we've said it a million times, you should be able to vote on your phone. If you
First
do your
of all,
bank
you're
on your phone, do your
everyone's forgetting that the people at the polls are all volunteers. So you're asking people to volunteer for a month straight at the polls. That's not realistic.
vote. That's fair.
As much as I think that would be a good idea, I agree with you. I'm also kind of like, there's a part of me that agrees with Joe. Why don't they just do it online? But when you find out about all the fraud involved in online banking, you'll quickly realize that that's not at all fucking tenable. Like you can sit there, Joe says it all the time, but we online bank and they take care of our money. But again, look into the amount of fraud in online banking and you'll quickly realize that the election, Russia would basically...
It's a potential for voter fraud. And you brought up last week that that happened with the George Bush election, that they didn't have a result right away.
Hanging Chad.
The reason why doesn't matter, but the climate and social media wasn't what it is today.
I mean, listen,
and I think if we were today, that happened, that would have been a way bigger shitstorm than it was.
and you know what? I can sit here and say you're probably right, but I don't think we... Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I don't think we know that for certain, but...
Well, we can't say for certain.
Let's keep in mind though, that was a very tenuous time as well. Like George Bush that was not, it wasn't fucking, everything wasn't honky dory in the fucking States.
This is going to be way more tenuous. I see fights at polling stations. It's going to be, I think it's going to be very ugly.
Kamar is right. Like, had there been social media in a big way back when...
No, but Matt's right. It was still like, what the fuck's going on? But it just wasn't able to be amplified the way
There was still
stuff is today.
24-hour media. I get it. There wasn't social media. I understand where you're at. I get
Everybody
it.
had been able to speak their voice. I feel like he wouldn't have been able to maybe get away with it.
Possibly. But he did. Al Gore went on to become a billionaire.
De Blasio eats pizza with a fork.
Yeah, but you've known that. We've known that for like 8 years.
I didn't know that. This is crazy.
You didn't know that when he was running for mayor. That was like the big thing. New Yorkers were like, "What the fuck?"
I don't pay attention
All right,
to
fair
fucking De Blasio until he fucks up, I guess. But does this alien put on his shoes like sock shoe?
No pants on yet.
Like, what is going on here? Eating your pizza with a fork.
I've done that before.
If you eat your pizza with a fork, you should immediately be dismissed from office. Like,
I'll say this: once a year, I eat pizza with a fork.
But if it's
just to feel
if the
civilized,
cheese is extra gooey,
Yeah,
you
I'm with Kamar.
You pull up one slice and the whole thing falls off. You're like, what are we doing
I
here?
agree. Sometimes you run into a pizza where you may need a fork. But like, if you're a fork guy all the time, like, look, if you're running for office, there should be standard questions like, how do you eat your pizza? With your hands? That's normal. How do you like your spaghetti? I put ketchup on it. You definitely can't be mayor.
Well, Chicago
You know?
deep
no
dish,
one
you got
puts
to eat
ketchup
with a
on their
fork.
fucking
People
spaghetti.
put ketchup on their spaghettis.
He's the worst mayor that city's ever had.
Kamar, can you back me up here, please?
I just
That
said
people put
Chicago deep dish, put ketchup on pizza, Eastern European,
on spaghetti
as sauce instead of tomato sauce, or as well as the sauce.
as well as the tomato sauce.
Never seen it, but I believe it.
Oh no, it happens.
I support you.
Yeah, just get them the fuck out of office. Learn to code. Do something else.
Like, it's very bad in those cities. The crime and everything is just out of control.
Hold on, but Chicago's been awful for close to a decade now. So
No, but there is a lot going on in.
I understand.
There are things going on in cities that aren't getting any media coverage. Frankly,
well, hold on. I hate to stop you there. Chicago literally has like 20 murders a weekend. You never hear, and that's every weekend for the last 5 years, and you never hear about it, ever.
I was going to say for
Mass shootings.
I was going to say for the post, Joe, but since it's come up, Chicago just recently asked Trump to send in the feds.
Yeah, it's really bad there.
But it's ironic because Chicago's like, no, Trump, we don't need your help. We got this on lockdown. 3 weeks later, like, please, Mr. Trump, help us.
he loves that.
I love it.
Just to what you were saying, Matt. Yes, of course. There is violence all the time in a lot of these cities. I'm not saying that's not the case. And I know there are mass shootings. There are drive-bys all the time. I realize that. It just feels different right now because it's more than just like the gang violence, you know? It's uprising, protests. They're not protests. They're
Well, and people have time to protest and to
riots.
riot because they don't have jobs that they're beholden to.
I'm not saying why it's happening or whatever the reason is. I can just it's scary in places, and you got to look to get the info. They're not telling you about it.
Doesn't it freak you out when they're talking about there's lineups at gun stores?
Well, I find it interesting. We're about to hit September 26th. We're about to hit the wall. They say I'm one of them, but there's something like 1.6 million people that won't qualify for anything once September 26th hits.
Oh, well, this is what I'm saying. I think right now, remember the bomb in Lebanon blew up?
Yeah, Beirut.
And then, depending where you were, 4 or 5 seconds, there was the shockwave. Mm-hmm. I think we're about to feel the shockwave of this. Like the explosion sort of started March 15th, and it's come this way, and it was mitigated because of the support the governments are putting out. But as these things run out, we're really going to see.
Well, did they ever crack
Stress
down
factor.
hard on like, oh, we gave you this at the start, we're coming back right now. Like it's not a year from now when you're okay. We're gonna make sure you give us that $1,000 back.
That's what the Canadian government's doing now?
No, they didn't make it give it back. What they did was if they gave you too much at the beginning, then your next payment, you're not getting the full $2,000. It wasn't the only people they've asked for money back is the ones they've proven they're like, you were working full time and still getting $2,000.
No, I get it. So
But like I have a bunch of friends like you that were like, why last month did I only get $1,300 or whatever?
I'm not. I understand what they did. They don't need to do that right now. They could have done this.
But Simon, what I'm saying to you is that they didn't do anything. They told all Canadians, you're going to get $10,000 spread out. You're still going to get that. You're going to get your 10,000. It's not,
Some people got it a bit more.
you're getting it in weird denominations. That's the only difference. But everyone is getting the same amount as long as you qualified.
Understood.
What I'm saying though is so there's 1.6 million people in Canada that once September 26th hit will qualify for nothing. The majority of people will go to the EI system and they will be down to $100 a week from EI, potentially $200 a week.
Why $200 a week?
Well, because the most you can make from EI in Canada, assuming you're in the right zone and you made enough money, is $573 a week, which would put you just over the CERB. But that's the highest level. It's based on how many hours you worked for how many months leading up to EI, right? So most people will only qualify based on the hours they worked. They'll only qualify for $100 or $200 a week of EI, which is nowhere near enough to live off of. $400 a month is that's not going to pay that'll pay my bills right now and not my rent.
I will say this whole week was riddled with depressing COVID talk.
Yeah. Oh, all over it.
Well, because Joe's getting ready to bail, so now
He's bailed, but it's like...
No, but I mean, now it's okay for him to bring up all the doom and gloom because he's on his way to sunny fucking, he's in sunny California, but
I also think,
On his way to
but
Texas.
I think the doom and gloom too is like the states, Joe's right. They did worse than anyone. They fucked up harder than anyone. And I also think, a place like New Zealand, for them to have new cases, that was kind of shocking and tough for the world to swallow. Because when a place like New Zealand locks down again, you were like, wait a minute, how does a contained island where they had no cases for X amount of time, and I know it's one household, but it's...
They're going to have to institute universal basic income.
We're here?
Everywhere.
Did either of you ever listen to that Amazon Well, I know you did.
I
Like,
told
did
you to listen to it.
You
Yeah,
told me. Did you ever
front
listen
line?
to it? Yeah, the front line.
yeah, he listened to it, yeah.
The whole part where they were talking about New York State, or sorry, I guess it was de Blasio, who makes those decisions, and how they tried to...
De Blasio's the mayor of New York.
Well, it was de Blasio and
Cuomo?
Both of them had a part in this, or whoever it was at the time. They tried to throw in a bunch of little caveats at the end on the deal.
Yeah.
They wanted, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like everything was done. It was all ready to sign. And they were like, oh, and by the way, we need this and this. And Amazon was just like, fuck you.
Yeah, we're going
See
to
you
New
later.
Jersey or whatever.
We're going to Delaware or wherever the fuck they went. But you know how many jobs that cost? I hate Amazon beyond belief. Don't get me wrong. But it costs New York State God knows how
course.
much, that could have been
trying
their
to strong arm a
golden
fucking thing into a
ticket.
deal.
Yeah, these guys are fucked. I'm assuming it was de Blasio and
He's
Cuomo
the worst mayor
because
ever.
and Cuomo's terrible. Fuck.
Cuomo's terrible as well.
Fucking mom loves him. I don't even know what's going on.
She likes the nipple rings.
He has nipple rings.
Look at Simon's face there.
Is that true?
His brother's worse.
They're both idiots, but is that true? Nipple rings? That's not
It
true.
looks like he's got some dumbbells on.
My
his
favorite is that he doesn't say yes or no. He barely shakes his. He does like an S-shaped shake and just kind of he won't say yes or no definitively. He's not looking at you. He's like, I'll just let Simon ride this one out.
Look it up. Research it.
And then he'll tell me about some other guy in a different state who does have nipple rings,
Yeah.
because that's the logic.
In the post, Joe.
What else, Tim Dillon, we got here?
Let me see what else I got here.
He was on fire this whole episode, and when he makes Joe laugh, it just amps him up, and he just puts the pedal to the metal.
I'm sure, Maddie, that you'll want to get all fucking cuckoo and argue with me on this, and I don't necessarily want to talk about this. I want people to do their own
What
research.
a fucking
on
terrible
this.
way to start, but go ahead.
Their own research
Dickhead.
on this. But if we could talk about William Gates. Kamar, thank you for that, by the way. His story is fraught with intrigue. Like, whatever you want to say about what he's up to right now, the way he got to where he is like right out of a fucking crazy novel, you know? Like, I just found out that his mother, I know we talked about this, and I apologize to any Patreon members.
And co-hosts.
No, I don't apologize to you guys.
We talked about this.
I know, but we're going to talk about it again.
Strong arm steady over
I am going to blow your minds here.
No, you're
His
not.
mother's maiden name.
You said this yesterday.
Is
Maxwell.
a very common
I know.
last name. Maxwell,
And
yes.
I said, what's the time? You go, well, I don't have that yet, but two names. I
You
mean,
drumrolled that like her last name was Hitler. It was Maxwell.
put them together. Just
If you don't
Connect
think
the
there
dots.
is some tie-in. Do you guys know the whole backstory about...
But hold on, stop. You don't think Bill Gates is a pedophile. That's never been your contention. You think that he's trying to inject the kids of the world
For the
with
Georgia
some
Stones.
virus.
Well, Bill Gates, I do believe, has been to Epstein Island.
yes.
Epstein went and visited... Sorry, Bill Gates went and visited Epstein, I believe, or had communications with him after he was in prison for
Why is
pedophilia.
it that I have to fact check
believe
my
that's-
shit
I
at the
believe that's
break?
true. I
You
believe
can,
that's
I
true.
believe, whatever the fuck you want your way
that's
through this
true.
whole thing. You too, and it's
believe
just
that's
fucking.
true.
You know what? No redundant. No.
I
Fuck
can...
it.
Kamar, can you check that for me?
You wanted some money for vaccine research.
Many things. No, I think they met many times. I think they had many dealings.
Even then, I love this. You guys will sit there and you'll be like, he met with Epstein to try to get vaccine research
Anyways,
done.
so his mother...
Joe would think you're ridiculous, by the way.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, Joe would. And I'm willing to take that. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Joe, Bill Gates' mom was the one who got him the gig with Intel. No, who was it? Whoever came to him with the contract to build the first processor or whatever Bill Gates built. That was for another company. I always assumed it was because he was this brilliant dude and he had, gotten the attention of like Silicon Valley at the time or whatever you want to call it. But it wasn't. His mother knew a guy who was
I love how
in
you
his,
know what's so weird to me is you're telling me this. I have to act like you didn't yell this at me 2 days ago,
And
I
everybody
have to
who
fucking
listens,
sit
I
here
know.
like I'm the asshole somehow. This is fucking
No,
ridiculous.
Matt, I'm definitely the asshole.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
never been a point
no.
of contention. Like I'll eat that. An interesting
The
asshole.
worst part though is that I just can't go over my arguments that I had 2 days ago again. So I seem like I have no, you know what I mean? I'm just
Well,
going
let
to
me
sit
give
here.
you new arguments that you can argue then. Did you know that Obama's mother... He has to go to the bathroom, man.
Okay, I'll let him out.
Obama's mother was
CIA.
CIA. And
Pardon
she
me.
was actually one of the women who was used in the honey traps. She was like a femme fatale.
She was attractive. He met with him at least three times at his New York mansion, one time staying late into the evening.
Never at the island, though.
No report to the
Okay,
island.
so I'm going to have to take that back. I'm willing to walk back from there. Only 3 times at the mansion. I mean,
All right, well, this is the Joe Rogan experience.
Again,
Association is guilt.
do you go to Walt Disney's
man.
house and not ride the rides?
No way, man. And you got to go to the food court
And
as well.
not sleep in the bed? No, you do. You do. What did you say?
I said you go to Disney's house and not hate a Jew.
Not kill a Jew. That's probably better. And that's a definite no.
That's a you, Walt.
So I just imagine that now that I'm finding out more about Bill Gates, I'm sure that we're going to come across a connection to
Aliens.
the CIA.
Bigfoot.
The CIA.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
The biggest computer company in the world, the CIA is going to talk to them.
Well,
It was CIA. I think Microsoft is doing the CIA's like.
No, they stopped.
No, I thought Amazon stopped it was Amazon and then
Look at Simon's face.
it was
Well,
Microsoft
because-
took it on.
of course they said they stopped.
Of course, yes.
Like, this is crazy. Oh, they stopped. Okay, Bill.
You are the ultimate. I love how you act.
dad's
like you're
not
like
into eugenics.
I love how you act like you're like, I'm this even keeled. I'm just some dude up at the cottage trying to drop knowledge on people.
like-
when in reality,
they're like
you
this.
are like a full blown tinfoil hat Mel Gibson conspiracy theorist.
It's the CIA on the phone with Bill, and he goes, Bill.
Okay,
there's
you
this
know
guy
what
in
really,
Canada named Simon.
Dude,
He's on to us. It's off.
This
it's
is
off.
what really
Everything's off.
fucking bothers me, man.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
I am an even keel guy at the cottage, just minding my own business.
No one believes that.
Hold on a second. Hold on a
You
second.
see yourself as an even keeled person. You see it. You've decided that.
If you hold on.
You said you got to fight in at your cottage with someone
I
about
said I got into an argument.
semantics.
And it wasn't even an argument. It was just more like me saying, look, you don't go to Disneyland and not ride the rides. I think I said argument in the wrong way.
Okay, fair enough.
It was more like somebody was trying to tell me the same way Maddie does. Like, yeah, they were just at the island for no fucking reason. They were just having tea there. High tea at the island.
Did you at
Go
any point
fuck yourself?
Did you at any point have to storm away from this argument?
No, I did say I can no longer have this discussion.
And walked away.
No, stayed at the table. Did not walk away.
Well, yeah, Epstein is starting to get up there with like.
Oh no, but I was
religion
gonna
and
tell
politics.
Matt why I was upset, and you took me all off fucking track here.
You know who should be upset? Tim Dillon, because we've given him about 30 seconds
Yeah,
of this
And
fucking.
he's so much funnier when he talks about this stuff.
Yeah.
He's so much more tongue in cheek.
Oh, the fact that I'm not even keel. That was the whole thing. And listen, you want to come to me with something that you believe and we want to put it out on the table, we'll look at it logically. I'm more than willing to do that. If you don't think that fucking Bill Gates is tied up in a weird story here, if you can't see that, like if you're so caught up in the mainstream of like, I'm just convinced that Bill Gates has to be a good guy, and you're not even willing to look at the fucking evidence in front of you, what are we doing here?
You're saying it's impossible that he's just being altruistic.
No,
that he
of
really
course,
wants for the good for the
of
planet.
course it's possible. But my opinion, after looking at this evidence, is that no, this guy is TMP. I've said it all the fucking time.
I want him to go
He
down.
used to
just
be a piece of
for your
shit.
validation.
Everyone hated him, and then he started giving out mad amounts of money. He has all sorts of lawsuits from countries where he's killed all their children.
Vaccines have gone wrong.
Okay, so like, let's not start here. His father was so tied up in eugenics, he started Planned Parenthood. These are all things that you know are fraught with fucking like.
And why doesn't he want to get
deception.
on the Russian vaccine?
Who?
Bill Gates, William.
He wants to get on
Russia says they have a vaccine.
Go on.
And he's like, I wouldn't trust that one.
Well, because shit, really?
No, but if he was for the good, he'd be like, this is very exciting. Russia has something we're working with. Like, nah, that's not the good one. You need to take my vaccine.
He has 9 patents for 9 different vaccines. One of them is going to pay off for him. It's not paying off if we take this Russian hack job vaccine.
My favorite thing about conspiracy theorists of Simon's ilk is just hear me out.
Don't call me a conspiracy theorist.
That's what you are, though. My favorite thing is that we feel
Conspiracy realist.
It's not pejorative.
we feel
It is. He says it pejoratively.
No, pejorative.
You decide
You're a
what it
Bullshit.
conspiracy theorist.
Now go fuck yourself. All
No,
right,
that's
go on.
rude.
Go on. Yeah, that was rude.
No, I just find that so let's say you were bang on right about everything. Do you think that your ravings on this podcast or up at the cottage are changing anything? other than a few people's minds about how sane you are?
I think he's got a lot more effect with Bigfoot and ancient civilizations.
About how sane I am.
No, like I'm just asking, like, do you think you're do you think that you personally are going to have any, if Bill Gates goes down?
No.
Okay.
No. I am not out here like, listen to me, I'm changing minds.
Because I like you a lot, but
No.
I feel like you waste a lot of your really good energy on ancient civilizations, conspiracies that you can't fix or help, and aliens.
I think it's my fault because he was in a much better place before I ever heard one episode of Tinfoil Hat.
Oh, you did this to him.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I regret it all the time.
All Tinfoil Hat does for me is
Opens
introduce
your eyes.
me to concepts that I go and either say
Debunk.
this has some legs or this is complete lunacy. Like, that's it, man. It's not like
But let me ask you this. Hold on. What makes you think so when you hear something on Tinfoil Hat that you go, this is total lunacy, what makes you say that? Is it you go to a website online and you do some digging? Or is it
Yeah.
just your gut instinct?
I look into the
just
source
curious.
first
Okay.
of all.
Okay.
That's
But couldn't by your
important.
conspiracy argument be that the source is just tainted because the real people don't want you to find out the truth?
I mean, I guess. Like, yeah. I mean, who knows, Matt? But by that logic, don't trust anything ever.
Well, I mean, that's the point I'm making, is how do you trust anything?
Well, you have to have faith.
But you'd have none.
I do have faith
In what?
in many things. Magic, aliens, Bigfoot.
Can we rate Tim-
I'm so full of faith it's fucking coming out my eyeballs. What are you even talking about? You have no faith. You don't believe in anything. You don't believe in religion.
Nope.
You don't believe in, you know what? I'm not even going to do
Oh,
this.
wait, he got to
You
one.
don't-
He got to one.
Oh, no, I was going to go on, but I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't think that's fair.
Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Go ahead. What don't I believe in, Simon?
What do you believe in?
I don't know.
Tell me.
Well, I don't know. What does that
Tell
mean?
me one thing you believe in.
Science, which you don't believe in.
I believe in science.
No, you don't.
I just don't believe in the dogma of science.
No, you don't believe that any scientist, you think that all scientists are flawed and therefore the science they
No,
perform.
absolutely not. You're
That's what you said to me.
No, I did not
Yeah,
say
those
that.
were your words.
No, you are totally misrepresenting me.
I
here.
am not.
You're trying to make me seem crazy. Yes,
I'm not.
I
That's
see
what you said
you're
to
doing.
me.
No, you know what? Don't sitting there with your little dog. Like, this is bullshit, man.
understand.
This is bullshit.
Okay.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
you're the pedophile.
This guy's the best. Sits there, doesn't say anything for
He's
like
literally on his
15
phone.
minutes.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure we didn't miss anything really important with Tim Dillon
Okay.
because that would not be fair to him.
I mean, this was a great episode. I
Great-
enjoyed it.
But he got shafted here big time, man.
yeah.
Who did?
Tim Dillon.
By us not covering
Yeah,
it?
Simon,
Oh, no,
Simon
no.
went off on a wild tangent.
Because this is one of those things with he covered everything, but it's like trying to tell someone's jokes back.
Yeah.
In concepts is one thing to discuss, but Tim Dillon's was just riffing and Joe was just laughing. He had a great time. This was a great listen. It covered everything.
Yeah, it was terrific. The only thing I did want to say is the one thing I don't understand in all of this COVID shit is where is the testing? Like, do you
Sound like
hear-
Donald Trump. What's going on right now?
No, like where is all the testing? Donald Trump says that. Shouldn't he be the one who's
In
giving
Ottawa,
the
are you
testing?
asking?
No, I know where you do it in Ottawa. I'm
Well, then
not
I'm
even
just-
sure that you can get it done, but I saw the signs for it.
Okay, so hold on. Back that up. See, this is so you saw signs, you know where you can do it, but you still don't buy that you can actually go in and get a test.
I am not sure what the qualifications are to get the test done. That's more what I meant, Maddie. You may go there and they say to you, do you show any symptoms?
That's it. If you're not feeling well and you feel like you're symptomatic, they will test you.
If you're not feeling well, you show a sign of a fever, you think you've been in contact with somebody who may have had it, you may get there and respond no to all of those things. And they're like, we're not giving you the test. That's all I was saying. Again, you're trying to paint me with a foul little
Well, no, I'm
brush.
just saying. But think about the weird thing you just said. Like, if you really want a COVID test and you go in, are you going to answer no to all the questions? What kind of fucking maniac does that? That's like trying to get a fucking medical marijuana card and going in to see the doctor and being like, honestly, I feel great. Like, I've actually never felt
sleep
better.
fine, zero
I have no
anxiety.
anxiety. I've never felt better. I have no pain, no inflammation. I just want to smoke weed to get high, to be honest.
Oh, fuck.
Like, Obviously.
Well, that's kind of like, look, you might just have a feeling. A gut feeling
Yeah.
that you
Doc,
fucking have COVID.
I'm feeling COVID-y, and I think it's just swab me.
Just swab me.
Just for kicks. I'm sorry, Kamar's had enough, obviously. Look, he's
No,
pulling
I
up
think
fucking...
he wants to tell us something. What do you want to tell us?
No, I'm telling you, judging by what's on his phone, he is so done with us.
He's not even looking up things for the podcast?
he's like reading articles.
Fuck this guy.
No, I'm
Like,
not.
look, he's laughing and he's reading Onion articles.
No, I just realized we'd get bogged down, but this episode I think was fire. It was
Let's
lit.
rate it. It was amazing. This is the best episode we've ever had.
What are we talking about now? This is our best episode or Tim Dillon's?
Our best review of an episode.
Okay. Thanks, Donald. That was a good, It's tremendous. It was the best review ever. Kamar, we'll start with you.
I give
rate
it
it.
a 4.
Kamar
Tim's
gives
on
it a
fire.
4.
Well, what are we reviewing
He was-
here?
he was back a little soon.
I give us a 5.
He was back a little soon.
That's the first 5 I've ever given, and it's to us.
We're rating Tim Dillon's episode.
I give Tim Dillon a 4. I think he did great. He's hilarious. He's one of my faves. Sorry, was it my turn to
Oh, yeah,
rate?
it was your, yeah.
Great.
I guess we're going to agree across the board here. I'll give it a 4 as well.
Well,
We have an
there you
agreement
go.
again.
Amazing.
All right, let's move on. Last one of the week. A fucking super shitty surprise Saturday. No, by the way, no reason for this. There's no reason to do this. Listen, you have all the power in the world, Joe. You want to take a couple of days off for your birthday? Please. You deserve it. Do it. You've earned it. What you don't need to do is bank a bunch of fucking episodes so that I get a surprise Saturday when I know in my heart you're in Las Vegas.
Are you part of this podcast?
Yeah.
Dude, he did that like he got caught in class. He swiped up like, what?
He's giving Joe shit for having a Sunday podcast with Alan Makovsky on.
It was
What
sad.
were-
Saturday.
What were you looking at there?
I'm looking at do you remember the show Art Attack?
I do.
You know that the whole time he's doing that, he was on mushrooms?
What the fuck? Oh, you're looking for things for
For the post Joe, because we've
He's trying to
roasted everything.
multitask. I see.
Well, we're deading it, so we don't even
and
need to. Don't worry
So
about it.
that there goes.
I put him on the spot. Look at that.
Okay.
No, I was waiting.
Can we get a number, please? Ali McCloskey,
We've been waiting for this.
15.
26.
Hey!
Nice. Look at me go.
First time
There we go.
ever.
No,
It's the
fuck off.
golden
That is
child.
the first time ever.
Ali
I
McCloskey.
swear to God, go
Simon.
back and
Simon.
listen to every episode.
Simon is convinced that she's been on before.
Okay, I said to the fellas,
And we are convinced
Look,
she has not been.
I don't usually break the, what do you call this?
Third wall,
The third wall.
fourth wall, whatever.
I'm going to talk right to the people here. I am positive 1,000% that I've heard her on Rogan before. The fellas have told me that that's not the case. The internet seems to think she's only been on once, which means that I've been to an alternate dimension where I have heard her on Joe Rogan before, and we've reviewed her before.
No, it's simple.
No chance, Vance.
You
And I'll tell
lumped
you
her
why
into
I
the
know.
female comedians that you don't enjoy column, and you thought she was like, who are the other two that he's had on recently that we don't prefer?
See what this is, Matt? This is you painting
Jesse
me with a
May-Peluso?
brush again. Don't
Jesse
let-
May-Peluso.
Don't let me in with this asshole, okay? I don't hate every woman comedian who comes
That's
on.
me.
I liked her. I thought she was fun.
I liked her too.
My only problem, and what I asked you in the car was, does she know how fucking lucky she is?
Yes.
Does
My
she
answer was
get
yes.
that nobody is blessed like this?
not sure.
To be 20 years old.
Let me
She's
ask.
24.
Well, no, but let me ask you, what do you want a 24-year-old person to say? Like, do you want her to just spend 2 hours gushing and crying and being like, I'm so because to me she seemed really, really nice. She wasn't full of herself. Like she seemed like
She was humble enough.
I was asking the question, like, does she know?
But I said to you, I think she does, and you went no.
I went, meh.
That's your dismissive. Like,
It means maybe.
My background,
maybe yes,
though,
maybe no.
My background with Alan Makovsky is up until the COVID, I'd listen to every Kill Tony.
okay,
So I know her whole catalog.
okay.
Like the first time she was ever on to when she decided she was too big for the show and moved on. So I've seen her development, and like she even said in this, she's like, you guys do all these deep jokes, but is that a problem? Like her jokes are sort of silly girl things. I think her and Joe hooked up, and I think Joe is doing a solid putting on this episode. I got annoyed when
Whoa,
Look at Simon's face.
whoa. You don't get to just skip over that, Kamar, to your next point that you
I
get
feel
annoyed
I
with.
think it's laying out my case and we can
Okay,
rip it all
lay-
apart.
lay
I love
it
how he
out.
yells earlier. I make one contradictory statement. He's like, "This guy should be a politician. Do you see what you just said?" Meanwhile, he quietly is just like, "I think Joe might have cheated on his wife with this young comedian." How do you guys
Can
feel
please-
about?
Well,
Can
no.
you please lay out your case? Because
Well,
this is huge.
We know according to
We don't know. We think
Absolutely.
according to Sean.
This is all hearsay.
exactly.
All hearsay.
hearsay. There's no validity in anything in this.
oh, the
And
cease,
your
the
views do
cease and
not
desist is
represent
coming.
the JREE.
But
Well, they do, unfortunately.
No, they don't.
sadly, 1/3. It annoyed me when she was like, I really like performing for like 2,000 people. Like, buckle up, honey. It's going to be a long time for 3,000 people coming to see you. But all those road trips, Vegas, all that's fun. These are trying times. So Joe doesn't want to go with any old floozy. She's having the time of life. She wants to hook up. They just fall in together. And Joe's like, yeah, I'll put you on the podcast one day.
No, I think that is total bullshit.
Well, how weird was it that they're driving around getting Joe his burgers the day before?
What do you mean?
Remember, she was like, "You got like 8
yeah.
Humperdinks or whatever yesterday." Like they were like it was a
show
weird
me,
way.
show me a picture of her.
She's
cute.
She's gorgeous.
Show
she's
me a pic-
absolutely beautiful.
Can I see a
But she
picture?
tries to do that ugly hot girl thing.
Can I see a picture of her?
He's working it
You've
out.
seen a picture of Joe's wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe's wife is a knockout.
Hold on. Is your argument that just because one guy has one hot girl, that's enough and he's done? Very interesting. Oh, Simon's face has changed a bit. Joe's wife is not so much a knockout anymore, is she?
Well, no, she's hotter than that girl.
Yeah, the point is you would.
I do, of course. Yes.
I don't.
I don't think that Joe did that. I think that you read that on Reddit.
Yeah. No, that helped spurn the thought, and then the chemistry between them fed the fire for the rumor. There was a point where Joe was talking about riots and stuff getting out of control, and I thought he was going to go backwards, but he didn't. And she was like, yeah, crazy, like hoping she'd add a story. And then Jamie told his story about the Ohio football riot. And if you watch it, Joe yawns in his face, the biggest yawn. Like this was heavy lifting work, this podcast for Joe. I swear to God, because Ali wasn't really bringing anything but crushing on him. I mean, that's what I felt watching it. There's one point where Joe mentions something about elk mating, and she's like, how would you know? And it's like, how? Of course he would know. Like, how do you not know he's a hunter? Like, it was so
Well,
weird.
because you don't pillow talk the girl you're fucking. You just fuck her and ask her to leave, obviously.
Exactly. That's why she doesn't know.
Guys, that didn't happen.
I'm playing, dude. I'm just playing. Now I'm playing Diablo Avocado. You see how this works?
I get it, but I don't think you should be doing that to Joe.
I don't think Joe cheats on his wife.
I think it was complete consensual. And they both are happy with it.
As in Joe's wife knew about it and she's fine with it.
I think Joe's wife probably is set up enough now that there's that sort of theory that people are rich enough that they have an agreement, like Will Smith and Jada
Keep in
Pinkett
mind,
Smith.
too, for all we know, maybe Joe and his wife are literally just open. Maybe they have an
Swingers,
open marriage. We don't fucking know.
They've got a beautiful pool boy.
You know, there are, you say that like it's impossible that he's in love with his wife.
No, I just think they're caught up in Vegas, having a great time at the show. One thing led to
What's
another.
the old Chris Rock saying? A man is only as faithful as his options.
Interesting.
No, what annoyed me with her, she had a David Bowie t-shirt on that was full of holes. Like, she's just...
Well, and she was hanging out with a skateboarder. That's where she really lost me.
He's pro. He's sick.
Yeah,
know,
but
the
she was
Supreme
saying,
guy, right?
She said, I used to skate, then I stopped skating, and then she was saying the other day I was practicing my ollies. Like the whole time she was on Kill Tony, she talked about it. She skated. She never skated. She just tried to be a skateboarder. And I know the same thing. I tried to be a skateboarder, but she thought she was a skater.
Didn't you hear her? I bought a Supreme board and it lay like, first of all,
No, she said she skated.
But I mean,
then
keep in mind,
quit.
like I still consider myself a skater. I probably touch that board a couple times a year.
But could we all right now do an ollie?
Yes.
I could 100%.
Exactly.
can we all do a kickflip? Yes.
She's been skating for
probably
years.
not you.
She's been skating what she thinks is skating, and she still can't ollie. I have a problem with that.
We also grew up skateboarding though. It's like a
Every
language.
second thing that came out of her house was TikTok.
Her mouth. I feel like she was trying to say she was a skateboarder so
Thank
she
you.
could be cool.
Yep.
That's what I thought she was driving.
The whole
at.
time
And
she
it
was on
didn't-
Kill Tony, she
and
did
it
it.
didn't seem cool. It seemed like she was trying way too hard.
She's trying way too hard, but she's a 24-year-old beautiful girl in overhead. You know what I think she is? She's like a surfer about to catch a wave, and this whole COVID thing has fucked her run up. Like, she's like, yes, you should go back and live with your parents. Like, this is going to be a long haul for you.
Well, I feel like the last time she was on Joe Rogan, she told the story about like her having to struggle to get up to this point.
Yeah,
But
that
I
was
don't-
Jessie May Peluso.
I don't think there was any struggle.
No,
here.
she's in the middle of her struggle right now, the actual struggle. Like, that's what I was going to say for her. She doesn't have the tortured childhood that Joe looks for his real funny people and interesting people. And yes, she is funny. Like, and a comedian will go, "You're funny. Come on tour with us." That's the different luxury that there is in America with all these headliners and all these opportunities. Like Paul Verzi, he's a headliner, but he made his living for a couple of years opening for
Bill Burr.
Bill
Yeah,
Burr.
I
So
know.
if Joe takes a shine to you and brings you on tour, she is so lucky. I'm not saying she's not funny enough to do it, but she's not 7 years. She's 7 years in, and she's saying, "Yeah, I really like performing in front of 2,000 people." Like,
Well, and there are plenty of great comedians out there that Joe never takes under his wing.
Sure, but okay, I think it's unfair for you to shit on her for saying she felt that. She felt like, wow, it's really much better performing in front of 2,000 people.
I
I
wasn't
think that's a.
shitting on her. I was just making sure she knew how lucky she was.
I was saying him. He was shitting on her for
but
saying that.
I felt, I heard a tone like, I could get used to this, and like, yeah, anyone could get used to this, but you have to earn it. Like, I just need her to do a stand up for 4 more years before she starts talking the way she
like
is.
she wasn't.
My whole
allo-
thing though is about the earning is like if a fucking 20-year, 30-year veteran picks you, you've earned it. That's how I look at it.
Well, to tie it all together, it's interesting because definitely Joe found out about her through Red Band. Because Red Band
Interesting.
runs the Kill Tony show. It's like, Joe, you got to check out this girl. I'm not saying she's not funny. I just don't think she's that funny.
So Red Band is actually the pimp. He's the Epstein.
Well, I was just gonna say,
Oh.
are you insinuating that Red Band fucked her first?
Well, Red Band can't be successful either. He is the creepiest guy on Kill Tony when a girl comedian, anyone comes up.
Oh, really?
He's always saying weird stuff like, "Hey, do you want to do my show?" And I'm sure he's on the level, all right. He's got a hot Asian girlfriend or whatever, but he guys
Making
say
a lot
creepy
of
things.
accusations in this.
Well,
episode.
I feel like I know Alan Makovsky. Like,
Yeah, but do you ever meet guys that are just accidentally creepy?
yep.
Like that you know
And I-
deep
and-
down, you've never seen them actually do
And I
anything
said
creepy,
that.
but they just say they can't help but be like,
Before COVID, every episode of Kill Tony, Brian Redband said something that Tony would say, Brian, like, would just be pissed at him.
Yeah.
Like, you're creeping.
No,
people
I've
out.
only listened to a couple of episodes of Kill Tony, and he's right.
And I'm not saying he's a creepy guy. He just comes off
No,
that
no.
way.
He's a creepy guy.
Okay, he's a creepy guy.
Yeah.
But he's the reason Alan Makovsky got more on this show. And I think that she obviously texts him. Did you think it was sort of thirsty when he's like, yeah, I'm keeping the house here. He's like, well, maybe you have a 24-year-old friend that needs a place to live. And he's like, no, someone's taking care of it. But she obviously texts him all the time. She's got that privilege. So, I mean, if she keeps her nose straight, keeps being funny, the world's her oyster. She has a co-signed by Joe Rogan. What do you want? I just don't think she had to be on. And it could have been someone else. I think he did a favor. Maybe he slept with her, maybe he didn't. But he said at some point, yeah, I'll have you on the show. Then he's like, I'm leaving for Texas. You got to come on the show now. And she's being left behind in L.A.
Well, this is such a
to sell
huge
chicken wings.
bombshell that Kamar dropped on this episode.
so Kamar, you think he brought his side piece on to say goodbye? Is that what you're saying?
It's so
in
fucking
not as many
ridiculous.
words.
I felt there was so much heavy lifting in this conversation. She got more time than Tim Dillon.
It's so
What's up
weird
with
because
that?
I listened to this today on 2 times as I normally do when I'm cramming, and I honestly was just like, this was a normal, okay episode.
Okay, you
I don't
can
know.
get no nuance from 2 times.
You couldn't get no nuance from a 2 times. Like, fucking listen to this fucking guy.
I understand. I understand.
What the fuck?
It's economical.
He's like a Creole
into an
fortune teller.
I watched this real time on the video, and it was just dreamy eyes at Joe, and Joe being like, Stop being so thirsty. That's just what I got.
Joe's like, my wife watches this. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Stop being so googly eyed.
Okay, I'll agree with the thirsty part. I'll agree with this girl is very lucky to be in this position where she
There's
is.
no agreeing. You say you're agreeing with your own statement. What kind of horse shit is that? I'm going to agree with my own statement that
Doubling
she's
down.
super lucky to be here. Fucking guy.
I'm agreeing with Kumar. He just said it. man.
And at one point she goes, I feel like everyone is being negative. And I was like, you obviously did not hear the Ron Funches episode.
But this sleeping with her is such bullshit. Like, and you know what really
Hold on, wait a minute.
bothers
The
me
biggest
about it?
conspiracy guy in the world is all of a sudden like, wait
Enough.
a minute. Joe can't
Enough.
just love his
Enough.
I
wife.
think you put Joe on
What
a
do you say?
pedestal.
Stop.
Stop. Fine. Stop is fine.
I put Joe on a pedestal. I do put Joe on a pedestal. We do a show about Joe Rogan.
I do not think Joe
I think-
used his power to coerce her, anything like that. It was a consensual, like, fuck, we're doing this.
Hold on.
This is so much
Well,
fun.
stop.
You
can't-
went on Reddit
those-
and
stop.
read something and then flew with it. You
Those-
didn't
Kumar.
make this up on your own
But I got it from the chemistry watching them for 2.5 hours talking.
because you were being
Hold on.
influenced by what you read.
You're going to say it's automatically an abuse of power?
It can't be anything but. I don't care either way. Like, listen, this is how I look at it. I don't care if you're in a position of power and you take someone on tour with you and they end up wanting to fuck you because of it and you fuck them and it's all consensual. I don't consider it like an abuse of
That's
power.
not an abuse of
but
power.
hold on, just hear me out. I'm not saying it's an abuse of power, but to sit here and be like he didn't use his power to get laid there is crazy. He took her on tour knowing that she'd be all googly eyed. Like if it happened,
I'm not
Maybe
saying
it
that.
just- I mean, in
you don't think
his
it happened. In my
defense-
defense, I think it was organic. It was just beautiful. It was like, I don't
You're
want to get
making
in
it
trouble.
seem like he Bill Cosby'd this girl.
no, not
I'd
at
say
all.
he took her on like tour for 6 shows and was like, yeah, I really like you or whatever. And then they were just hanging out. I don't think it was like, suck my dick, you can come on tour at all.
hold on.
At all.
I wanna
I'm
say
done.
this.
I'm done backing up this guy. This is crazy.
I wanna say this.
This is purely speculative.
Wait, I wanna say
and it's
this.
not even your fucking thing. I saw the exact same thing on Reddit.
Hold on, stop. You speculate on this fucking show all the time. You're getting mad at him for speculation.
I saw it on Reddit, so it sparked my interest. And then I watched their interaction and said, I could believe it. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
Can I just say this?
I don't think she should have been on.
I don't think Joe cheated on his wife with this chick. I also,
Thank you.
hold on, I also, as much as I enjoy Joe and enjoy his show and everything he does for people and friends, I still think that Joe is just a normal dude and is very capable of cheating on his wife. Which you
Fine.
have to, as
Everybody is capable
of
of
course,
anything.
That's all I want to say.
for sure.
That's it.
But knowing what you know about Joe,
Yeah.
after doing this show for as long as we've done it
Yeah.
and listening for as long as you've listened, do you think that Joe cheats on his wife? I don't. That's the opinion I formulated.
Can you hear me out? I would say this. Knowing what I know about Joe, I have a feeling, especially considering how he talks about how he felt about marriage before getting married, I have a feeling that Joe probably was somewhere in between wanting a family and also wanting to continue to be Joe Rogan. And they probably have some agreement where once or twice a year on
Hall
tour,
pass.
Joe gets to go. Yeah, again, he's on tour all the time. And as I know from people that go on tour, it's pretty tough for them, no matter how loving or fucking outwardly like I'm the best dude ever. They end up fucking straying. You know what
You
I
know
mean?
what?
It's
But
a
it's-
tough
it's
fucking
what
game.
What the fuck do I know? Maybe, but I don't like that this guy.
It's
you know,
also,
I know where you're at,
it's-
Simon.
It's also tough to do this in this TMZ world.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think he fucked Jessie May Pelusa or
You know why Simon's
what was
pissed?
the other girl with the big earrings?
Simon's angry because he
Annie
feels like
Letterman.
this should have been a small green room thing. He feels like you kind of sideswiped us with these accusations.
I
and
think I might have.
allegations.
I wrestled with myself. Should I just bring this up on the side after the fact? Because I think I'm really, if Joe ever heard this, would be like, fuck this Kamar guy.
Yeah, this feels like a post-Joe thing.
But I've said
I wouldn't even like that on the post, Joe.
it was the Makovsky episode.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, you're right. You brought it up at the right time. I mean, if you'd brought it up during Ron Funches, it would have totally derailed the whole podcast.
It would have been inappropriate.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
it would have been totally inappropriate.
Ron Funches definitely has an autistic kid, but Ali McCluskey definitely fucked
It's
Joe.
very unlikely that is the scenario, but that would make a scenario. I don't understand another reason why she got on. Like
You
she
just said it was very likely 2
Not-
seconds
But
ago.
hold
no,
on.
no, I never said that.
So don't
just-
I said this was
backpedal
the
now.
scenario I described and how she got on the show.
Can I say this? If you were willing to say Joe brought her on tour with no ill intent. Like just
100%.
Then you'd have to agree
I thought
that he
you're
would
funny.
also bring her on the podcast on the same.
She's already been on, so this is a moot fucking
That's
point.
where we're lost.
Okay, great.
7-year in comedians who, I guess she said she headlined in Arizona, but I don't know. It just was. This wasn't interesting. It was just Joe doing heavy lifting.
Do you know that she? Well, of course you know because you listen to the same podcast I listen to.
Apparently, maybe not. Maybe
She couldn't go to the Comedy Store for 1 year. Why?
Too young.
She was not of age.
well, she could have gone. She
And
just
Joe
wasn't aware of it.
That whole time, Joe didn't know who she
Sometimes
was.
you just gotta let the silence do the work for you, Maddie.
Why? What? I don't understand the silence there though. Because she was too young. First of all, the drinking age in the States is
she's
retarded.
just so young. I'm just pointing out how young she is.
I can't hold that against
No,
her.
this would have
I
happened.
don't, I
This-
don't. I think she is living like a fucking fairy tale
She just went on tour with him like 2 years ago.
where she's on tour with Joe Rogan at 24 years old. She's skateboarding with professional skateboarders and she's fucking.
And now there's no comedy anywhere to do, so the fairy tales come undone.
well, there's lots of skateboarding to be done.
That's not her passion.
It's true. All right, can we rate this then? I know Kamar's about to fucking caca.
But she just talked about TikTok constantly, and she
Oh,
was
yeah. We
she was
didn't
like,
even talk about
"I know
TikTok.
what the kids do," and then the same breath she'd be like, "Well," implying that she's older, but then she's like, "I'm so young, like naive, I'm stupid, I'm dumb." Like,
No, but I think 24 is right in the wheelhouse.
I
of
suppose.
TikTok.
You also forget though what it's like to be 25 because no one in their 30s takes you seriously as an adult. Yet you're also not 19 and a kid. Like 19-year-olds are like, "Whoa, easy there, grandpa." You know what I mean? Like it's a weird.
I think if she could dance, she should have put some time into TikTok.
How weird is this though? Speaking of the Matrix, that Charlie whoever the fuck they were talking about.
D'Amelio.
D'Amelio.
Sure, her videos have been popping up
D'Amelio.
on my YouTube like fucking wild. Before I listened to this episode, her videos were popping up on my YouTube left, right, and center, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this? And why are these on here?"
She's the biggest thing in the world.
And then they're talking about her now.
She's
so I don't-
cute. Too
And
young
he
for me though.
called you a pedo earlier. Like it's all kind of fucking.
It's all coming out in the wash.
Yeah, and then he called, and then you're calling a 16-year-old cute, which we shot on you for last week.
Because of poor Billie Eilish.
Now she's poor Billie
Sorry,
Eilish.
poor Simon, who had no idea that Billie Eilish was 16 years
But she's
old.
18 now, so play ball. For my Matrix moment was when Joe was like, and there's these creators with these huge houses that throw parties.
Yeah, the hype
and then
houses.
Jamie
Yeah.
was scoffing at him because I don't know if it was on the episode, but I talked to you about all these hype houses.
Well, I brought it up
Sway
too.
House.
I've been
Yeah.
talking about the TikTok houses forever, man.
I brought TikTok to this podcast, so I know I'm the first.
You are the absolute originator of
No,
TikTok.
no,
I think you
no,
might have
no,
brought
no,
TikTok
no.
to the country. I think you might be working for the Chinese
you
government.
do this every time. It's just like in fucking Splash. You're like, why don't you go find me a unicorn?
Just like in
Remember, no one believes Eugene Levy has found a fucking mermaid.
Yeah.
And then he finds a mermaid, and they're not like, oh, Eugene, you were right. They're like, fuck off, go find a unicorn. I brought you the TikTok, and now I'm thrown out with the news.
Can you rate it, Kamar?
I give it a 2.
Simon, can you rate it, please?
I give it a 2.5.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I didn't mind it. I didn't see any of the conspiracies you guys saw.
Well, it was 35 minutes for you.
No, it was an hour. It was a 2-hour podcast, so it ended up being 1 hour. Either way,
You know what I found? I tried to play it on my phone and then cast it on a TV.
Yeah.
If you do that, it won't let you double speed it. Because YouTube, you can change the playback speed.
yeah, I know. I watch on YouTube on 2 times sometimes. as
On your
well.
computer, though.
Yeah,
Interesting. I got to get a computer.
I think you can change the speed on your phone too. Can you
I
not?
can, but once I cast it, like,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I had
When
it
you
set
put it
up and then I cast it and then go to normal
even
speed.
on YouTube, that doesn't work.
On my phone, it'll play double time the video, but when I cast it to the TV,
Interesting.
yeah,
Super weird.
kicked me out. Sorry to waste your time with that, listeners.
No, that's no one's listen. We're 2 hours in. No one's still here. This is where everyone is left already.
Yeah, luckily, when Joe decided, or sorry, when Kamar.
When Kamar threw Joe into the bus, Joe would have already. If God forbid Joe had been listening, he would have
He
tuned
would-
out long ago.
So long ago,
Yeah.
and nobody,
throwing him under the
nobody
bus.
was left listening out there in the
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
sphere.
I do not accuse him of any wrongdoing, and we can look forward.
We could drop every racial slur in the world right now, and no one would hear it.
Don't.
I don't want to get canceled yet.
All right.
You've already done that a couple of times.
The silence is palpable.
Yeah, that
Simon.
was bad.
I've been called
Do
a pedo and a racist
Do
this
these
episode.
mics shut off when you're not talking? Like, do they
No, that's
close?
the noise gate. The noise gate closes everything when you're not talking.
Better than Pedogate.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Interesting that he brings up a bunch of Gates, though, eh? And Bill Gates.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
We're done here. Keep your eyes open.
No, now you leave the headphones and push the mic away. You're done.
Actually, throw some papers in the air, man.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to email us, you can do so at jreepodcast@gmail.com. We have a Twitter and an Instagram. They're both JREE Podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Come On Bar, Twitter and Instagram.
There is a Reddit. It's reddit.com/JREE Podcast. And the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, you could do so at patreon.com/JREE Podcast. You get a bunch of extra content, and we do some fun stuff on there. There should be more coming in the future. I think that's it. Yeah, the YouTube. Sure. Join the YouTube. It's youtube.com/JREE Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. I don't care about the notifications or anything. Just make sure, even if you're not going to watch, please subscribe so that we can hit that 1,000 mark.
Let's get to 1,000, kids.
And yeah, we do post all of these episodes on YouTube. So if you want to see what we look like, most people are very disappointed, as I would be as well. And that's it. I hope you have a great week. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for listening. And as Simon always says,
Keep your eyes open.